Schroer is with us this afternoon.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Put that microphone right up by your mouth.
Make me feel like
there,
Justin
so we want to make sure
Timberlake
people
over here.
can. I know, right? Or either that, or someone that's in the McDonald's drive-thru taking an order.
Either one is
because
fine.
we have the mics line. Brian, I cannot hear him very well, so I'm not sure if that's just me or something else. Former State Senator John Lamping is here. Hi, John.
Mark, good to see you.
Thank you for coming out here.
Cottleville,
This is a little bit in your neck of the woods too, right?
Yeah, I'm south of here, down in Augusta.
Best Senate district in Missouri.
Yeah, Nick's my senator.
Oh,
yeah,
I
for
did not
sure.
know that. Is this technically your district here?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. I
Knocked
didn't know
many
that.
doors around here.
Oh, I'm sure you have. Well, that's great. Well, thank you for making the trek out here. Where were you, Nick Schroer, when the men won the Olympic gold medal on Sunday?
I was sitting in my home watching it with the girls, and it took me back because I thought somewhere in the last 40 years they would have won. Because I remember
right?
so many good teams, and when the announcer said it's been 46, 48
46 years since 1980.
Holy cow, my entire lifetime we've never won gold. So it was kind of sweet to sit there with my family. We went on some other events, and I was just living on that high the rest of the week. I'm still loving it.
It's been magical, right? So I watched the women's game, half of it on Saturday. I planned to get up a little bit earlier on Sunday. I set the alarm, and then I hit snooze. But I woke up in time to see the third period. It was about to start. And that was an incredible third period.
Right.
It really was. I mean, the intensity, we've seen it in playoff hockey with the Blues, but every shot. And it looked like we were getting smoked, right? Because the Canadians were dominating the ice. And then magic happened, and you win that game, and Jack Hughes, and we saw everything that was in the aftermath of it. John, did you watch?
No, I was actually in church on my knees praying for the success.
I don't hear him. Hang on a second here. Let's make sure that people can hear you because I can't hear you.
Can I be heard?
I can hear him.
Okay.
You can hear him?
I can hear myself.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I think something's going on with my headphones, but go ahead.
So I said I was at church on my knees praying for the success at the time of the game. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was. The timing was a little off.
It worked, though.
Yeah. Well, it did work. I believe in prayer, but it is really exciting, and I agree. It's hard to believe it had been so long. It was funny too, though. We're going to talk about the political unraveling thereafter, right?
Yes, we are.
But I knew that. But I was when they won, I was happy they won. But I was excited for what was going to come next because if you listen to the Chuck brothers, and I knew where their politics are. I know where their dad's politics are, and you knew MAGA was coming. So I was excited that they won, but I was excited for what was going to come next.
So I watched, and I was so excited, as we all were. And then the day goes along on Sunday. And I didn't really pay much attention. I did see that there was the celebration with Kash Patel, and they were going crazy. I'm like, man, that is so cool. I mean, I can't even imagine how those kids must feel in that moment. So then Sunday night goes by. I'm watching whatever on Sunday night with the family and everything, and Monday morning I start to get to work again, and I'm up on Twitter, and I'm seeing how people are saying that the men's team has sullied their reputation because of that celebration. Right. And honest to God, guys, I was so confused by that. I didn't understand it. If you would have asked me to bet if that was going to be a story we're still talking about 5 days later, because apparently we are, I would have said there's no way. These kids are happy. They're Americans. They're proud to be Americans. Trump calls. It's a pretty funny call. He didn't denigrate the women with what he said. It was ridiculous. The men gave just as much credit to the women. They were shouting 2 for 2, right? And now we have this whole, I don't know if it's half the country or whoever hates Trump, the TDS afflicted, John. They can't even root for the Americans. Some of them couldn't even stand at the State of the Union the other night.
Well, I mean, there's a clear division in the country. I mean, the response, a natural response of 2/3, 3/4, 80% of the country for the success of the Olympic team was what you'd expect. It was patriotic. It was a celebration. They had the flag. And then for that small group that thinks that that's not something we should celebrate. They don't like the country. They have tremendous clout in the Democratic Party. They have tremendous clout in the media. And the fact that message is still here all these days later is quite frankly, it's ridiculous.
It's, Nick, I don't know, and I've talked about this over the years, and this makes it even more clear. The sports media, like the legacy sports media in particular, because the New York Times goes with an article about this, and ESPN, and all these reporters have to ask these players all week long, the women and the men, can't even allow them to enjoy the moment, right? And I think the kids, these are kids, some are kids, right? They've handled themselves so well. Now, a couple of women's players broke bad, but I guess that would be expected. But for the most part, I was stunned by the reaction and the continued reaction.
Well, I'm old enough to remember Keith Olbermann on ESPN.
When he wasn't crazy?
Before
or when he wasn't,
before he came out as a
acting
lesbian.
crazy?
Yeah,
Right.
before he turned into the male Rachel Maddow. It's sad to see what sports media stuff has become, how we continue to inject politics in an era where we don't want politics. Yeah, I'm hearing that as well.
Yeah, I know there's a look here now, too. Sorry about that, guys. We'll see if we can figure it out.
No, but the thing that really ticks me off is, like you said, you've got kids who fought their entire lives to try and make it to USA. And then, their parents, they experienced the miracle on ice. They want to be part of this. They were stacked against the team, the Canadian team. Phenomenal. I don't know how many first-round NHL picks were on that team, but the deck was stacked against them, and they just kept fighting. You had Jack Hughes get his teeth knocked out, and he's a young 20-year-old.
I know, what is that? That's amazing, isn't it?
That's incredible. And, blood's still in his mouth. He goes in there. And if you listen to the Kachuk brothers, they've got a little podcast, and they said they were talking to him, and Jack claims that he missed the shot, and it just kind of went high, and everybody thinks that he's just pulling their leg.
Oh, really? So he thinks he thought that the shot
That's
was
what he
off.
was telling people. He was telling people, and that's how he beat Bennington.
Yeah.
No, so it was really cool to see, and rather than just help celebrate that moment, and let's not bring politics into it, because for a short period of time, when that goal was scored and everybody was celebrating, nobody thought about Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or anything like that. But then they had to bring it back, and coming into the State of the Union, honoring them the first time they've had gold in 46 years. I do think it's kind of funny. It's in the golden era. And they capitalized on that. The Trump administration capitalized on that. But you have so many Democrats that wouldn't even stand and applaud these people. These kids are praising the military, praising all of those who watch. They love America.
They love America, and they played for their country, as did the women. By the way, one thing that's interesting, and maybe this has been solved here in the last 24 hours, but Jack Hughes said he didn't know where the puck was. Like, the puck kind of disappeared. And if you saw the celebration, it looked like he had chucked his helmet into the stands, right?
Right.
But what he said was it actually got caught on his finger, and it went backwards. I haven't gone back to watch the video, but he goes, I didn't lose the helmet. That was on the ice, but he doesn't know where the goal is, right? So, which is kind of interesting. Or the puck, not
some
the goal.
Italian
The golden, yeah,
probably
somebody
has it out there.
Somebody got it. But he's handled himself so well this week. And then that reception he gets in New Jersey, and I think these players are going to continue to get these receptions throughout this weekend. I don't know how Jordan was treated last night, because the Blues played last night, didn't they?
Yeah,
did they win or did they lose?
He didn't play. They won 5-1.
Okay. And he didn't play?
He didn't start, no.
All right. But, I mean, let's face it. This was one of those moments that I saw some kids outside of the Devils game saying, USA, talking about both teams. Those kids will grow up, maybe not as impacted as we were when we saw the Soviets lose in 1980. That was a big deal, Nick. But they still will remember that moment, and I think it's magical. So for half the country and for the Democrats to try to ruin this for people who just love the Olympics and love America, it's disgusting.
Did you see the Quinn Hughes, his brother? Somebody ripped up his jersey, wrote all these things, fascist, neo-Nazi, and put it at the Hockey Hall of Fame. People with mental illness cannot just contain their hatred for the other side, and truly their hatred for America.
You do wonder why, because you mentioned before, like the left, the sports has gone to the left. You do wonder why, because it's not economic. Like they announced they're going to go get rid of baseball on Sunday nights. They're going to have women's only programming.
ESPN, right. Good luck with that.
That's not economic.
By the way, not a knock against the women's team, but the ratings were considerably different. 15 million more people watched the men's game. 5 million watched the women. 20+ million watch the men. There's a difference.
Well, same thing with the WNBA and women's professional soccer, which nobody watches. So, and you do wonder, because it's been going on for sports to go to the left. Look what's happened to the NBA. The NBA has become a left-only, liberal city, Democratic. The viewership's way down. And why would you do that? Like, it's almost like it's not conspiratorial, but somebody's decided that it's for someone's betterment to have sports go to the left. To whose betterment?
I don't get it. So did you have any issue? Let me just ask this. Kash Patel's in there, right? He's chugging a beer. He's celebrating. A lot of people didn't like that. I almost wonder if Patel wasn't there and Trump still calls, if it's as controversial.
There was, who was the Democrat mayor that was in the audience?
I'm not sure.
I don't know if it was Whitmore, but there was a Democrat mayor or governor. I'm sorry, Democrat governor in the audience. No problems. Her social media, nobody's attacking her. She's celebrating the USA, but Kash Patel's in there celebrating with the men's team, and suddenly it's the Gestapo's here. And it doesn't make
well,
sense
the
why
problem is
people
he doesn't
are
have the
ticked
best
off.
reputation, and he can be a little bit of a buffoon anyway. Now,
Right.
in that moment, I was like, man, we're just happy. We're celebrating. I thought it was cool.
I think
personally.
it's really cool. I think how RFK is hanging out with Kid Rock. I think that's pretty cool. And one of these Canadian media outlets was sending all these pictures on social media saying what has happened to America. Masculinity's back. The love for our country is back, and common sense is back.
Do you think, I really think, and I've heard other people, pundits this week say this, I've really thought about this since Monday, John, and I don't know if there's a way to, to grab this moment in such a way that really helps the Republicans or Trump's, but it does seem to be a pivotal moment just in defining where we are as a country and who loves the country and who doesn't. It's an excellent way, as I've said earlier this week, to kick off America 250 with these 2 gold medals, right? And the other gold medals from the other Olympians. But it also seems, and I don't know how you exploit it, because I want to exploit it a little bit. And I want to show the people who are sitting on their hands and not rooting for the Olympic team. And I want to show the people who really, don't like this country. So can you use that politically moving forward?
Well, I think we can, and we started on Tuesday night with the State of the Union address. Look, we always talk about this leading up to elections, the most important election ever. What we saw on Tuesday night was here's a group of people who are enthusiastically they love their country, they embrace their country, they celebrate the success. It was an hour and a half of just unlimited success stories, great stories, Purple Hearts, guys sacrificing. One side of the aisle celebrates that. The other side of the aisle can't stand their country, disdains the whole idea of patriotism, and it was very, very clear, very, very stark. Tuesday night was the beginning of what I think 2026 is going to be nothing more than a base election. It's not going to be issues. It's going to be, do you get your base out on the right? Do you get your base out on the left? That's all it is. And I think the president did a great job on Tuesday night starting that process. And what will be part of getting our base out will be celebrating the country, celebrating patriotism, celebrating success, celebrating our sovereignty. And the other side is the other route. And what's interesting to me is I was shocked to learn just the last few days, they're polling in New York. The mayor is polling huge favorables in New York.
Mamdani is.
Yeah, huge
Really?
favorables.
Really?
Well, and it's like, okay, what's going on? What does that mean? Their side is excited about socialism.
Yeah.
This guy's a socialist, and they're excited about it. And our side is excited about victory, success, and in 250. And that's what this year is going to be about. And I'll tell you what. If we don't prevail in November, the next 2 years are going to be impeaching Trump. I mean, this country is really close to.
Well, I know, but what's your level of optimism? Look, the reality is history is not on the Republican side. It's only happened a couple of times, and it was a different economic period, late 1990s with Bill Clinton, one time with George W. Bush, and that was in the aftermath of 9/11, right? So, it doesn't look great for control of the House. I think the Senate's looking better, but can there be a miracle? Can the economy, maybe not a miracle, but can the economy drive them to not lose control of the House? It's doubtful, John.
Well, what has happened historically matters less to me in that this is a very, very different year. There's some extraordinary things going on in the country that are not average in any way.
I think you're right.
The economic policy of our country is changing dramatically. We're trying to reindustrialize our country. It's a huge undertaking. It's once every 50 or 75 years things change like that. You're reading more and more about AI and how AI is going to impact the economy, how it's going to impact white-collar jobs. That's a new technology that's once in multiple generations. We've never had this extreme in my lifetime. I've never had patriotic people on one side and socialists on the other. That's what we have this time. So there's nothing about this midterm election that looks like any other midterm election.
Well, that's important. I think that is an important point.
Well, I think if the one curveball that we can save America with is passing the SAVE Act. And I don't know why Republicans just can't do it. I mean, they have the numbers. They can get off their butts and actually stop the filibuster. But it seems like there are several members. I don't know if Tom Tillis is still on the sidelines. I don't know if Mitch McConnell's still getting wheeled around and not saying anything to anybody. But it's a mind scratcher, a head scratcher, why Republicans can't get this simple common sense thing that Democrats were advocating for just a couple years ago, just like in the 90s when Bill Clinton gave his State of the Union address. Democrats were standing at all of the same talking points that Trump mentioned just a couple days ago.
Hang tight. Hold on. Hold your thoughts. We're going to talk a little bit more about the State of the Union and where things are going politically. Former State Senator John Lapping is here. Current State Senator Nick Short. It's the Reardon Roundtable live out in Cottleville. We're at the Knights of Columbus Hall. It's Fish Fry Friday.
Well, I just posted on X a photo of the accident. Actually, it's a little bit of video. Southbound 55 past the 44 split, and it looks like a vehicle off the roadway. They've got the right lane blocked, and of course, this is in the construction zone, so it's not going to be a lot of fun in that area. A little bit slow. Now, the good news is they have just cleared an accident. It was southbound 170 approaching Ladue Road. That is gone, and traffic now looks okay through that area. Now, if you are southbound on 55, of course, the slowdown at 44, but then again at Bates. And things are looking better, southbound 170. 70 westbound, just moderate volume, Jennings Station Road past the airport, but then it bunches up. There was an accident reported before Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and we've got slow-moving traffic back through K. 64 out west isn't as bad, but some moderate volume between Highway N and the 70 split. And if you are headed into Illinois, things are okay on the bridges downtown. A little bit of volume eastbound 64 at 157. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, we are live at the Knights of Columbus Hall in Cottleville. All of this is made possible by Apache Village RV. both in Hazelwood and O'Fallon. We have several weeks of fish fries remaining. This is the second stop on the tour. Sue is with me. Fred is here this week. He wasn't there last week because
Yay,
he had
Fred.
some personal business to attend to. We have former State Senator John Lamping on the Roundtable panel, along with current State Senator Nick Shore. John, before the break, you were talking a little bit about the SAVE Act, and I kind of cut you off. Did you want to make a further point about that?
Well, all I was going to say to Nick is I don't believe we have the majority in the Senate. I think that we statistically, we officially have the majority.
On paper.
But, what the administration is trying to do is they are trying to change the system as it has existed for the last 30 or 40 years. And there's more than 4 or 5 or 6 in the U.S. Senate that want the status quo. They've decided that they're going to root for the Democrats and to take over the House. They know that once that happens, there's going to be a challenge they're going to impeach them. Heck, I think the Senate could be very, very close. We could lose the Senate, or I could see where we retain the Senate, but then 4 or 5 Republicans will say, well, look, I hear what they're talking about in the House, and they've impeached him, and I want an opportunity to vote on it. I actually think you could see Republicans threaten to impeach Trump if that were to become a reality.
I think a lot could happen. I think the Senate is looking, in my view, not that I'm right about these things, a lot safer. But look, what I said this week, and this is what's hard to gauge from the middle of Missouri or anywhere else, middle of the country, is, and we've talked about this over the years, the quality of the candidates matter. So I don't know how these Republican candidates, even in primaries, stack up against someone who might be a Democrat. And if they're sane and you got a kooky Republican, that may cost you the seat. Also depends, ooh, that was loud. It also depends if you're in California, New York, or some of these other places that aren't Missouri or Arkansas or the South.
Well, the congressional races, the candidate is everything.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a plus 30 or your district, a bad incumbent candidate can easily lose to a great candidate. And it's people's willingness to put the work in. And, congressional districts are great. I mean, you can sleep in your own bed every night.
Mm-hmm. Not sure what's happening.
Yeah, not sure what's happening there.
It's AI.
Are we going to have any kind of competition with Cori Bush and Wesley Bell?
I got a quick story about Cori Bush.
Okay, good.
And it's
I
a
like
head
these.
scratcher.
These are my favorites.
This week we had the opportunity to go sign up. So half of the Senate and all of the state reps.
To register, you mean?
To register to vote.
Right.
And this is my last election for Senate. Hopefully we've got some good candidates here that might consider coming back to the Senate. But Cori Bush
Is that true, John, by the way?
What's it?
One more term.
No.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So we have Cori Bush in front of us, maybe 6 people ahead, and about 40 people are in her entourage. No other Republican, Democrat, statewide, nobody has an entourage. And one of the people asked me, they said, well, where's your entourage, Senator Schroer? I said, well, all my people are working. I don't know 40 unemployed people that can come down here. So you got to pick a random number in this big thing. You pick a random number to see where you'll be placed on the ballot if other people run against you. Her entire entourage, she opens a number, they all start celebrating. And I'm thinking, all of us around us, Republicans and Democrats, she must have got a pretty good number. The lower, the better. If you have 1 to 100, you're in a pretty good spot.
Well, why is that? Help me understand that a little bit. You lost me.
So if you run against me,
okay.
If we have 2 people running on the ballot, the placement, if you're first, and there's a lot of advantage.
You want to be first.
Yeah, you want to be first, right.
If you're not first, you're last. That's
Yes.
what Ricky Bobby says. And there's some point systems where they say it's about a 5-point advantage if you're first on the ballot.
Okay, all right.
So if you draw a higher number, like a 900-something, you're going to be towards the end. Well, she drew. Everybody goes bonkers, and then later in the evening, you see what number she drew. It was like 940-something. And it's all a show to these people. It's all a show. And they're even, I'm not going to say who, but there were several House Democrats that said, that is what's wrong with our party. That is why we're never going to win in the state of Missouri. And it's true. At least some people in the Democrat Party still acknowledge that.
She could win that race. August is a miserable time to go to vote. And it's also that time of the year where school hasn't quite started yet.
Right.
People are out of town. It's 100 degrees. It's just miserable. And, so the turnout for that congressional seat this August will be tiny.
Yeah.
And there are certain issues that I took on while she was in office, and it's centering around like merging the city and the county. And I came to learn that she's got a pretty good political machine. Cori does, that her capacity. I mean, she represents that far left wing, and it took a really strong concerted effort to beat her last time. But
a lot of that was, look, she justifiably got lumped in with all the other kooks and the kooks here in St. Louis like Kim and Tashara.
But this time, she's by herself. This
Well,
time
right.
it's just her.
So I'm legitimately wondering if she can win that race.
Well, I don't
and you're
think the
saying
squad,
she's got a shot.
The squad won't even help her this
No,
time.
because they don't like her because she's not smart. They're smart at least. They're whack jobs.
some
but
of 'em.
they don't like Corey because she's an idiot, which is true.
But as a Republican, guess who I'm rooting for?
Corey.
Amen.
Me too.
Yeah.
Talking points all day long.
That's why Wesley, he was one of the ones that boycotted this week, right? He's got to do
Yeah.
all that stuff to check the boxes off.
As an aside, my guess is his congressional career will be very short, and if it's not Cori Bush that takes him out, I don't think he'll last a whole lot longer. I just think that there's a lot in his background that didn't come out because it was important that he won last time. So maybe it'll be one and done. I think if the Democrats are smart, this might be a good time for him to lose.
You think they're going to pull up issues that weren't really focused on last time?
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as somebody who's going to have a long.
You mean with the
congressional
Oppo
career.
research and stuff
There's
like that?
all kinds of stuff. with
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things that went down.
Regular voters, people listening, they don't know how this works, but there are consultants that are specifically hired to handle the opposition research.
They dig
for
through
candidates,
everything.
right?
They dig through your background, your Facebook, your social media, votes that you've taken.
Right, and they may have one layer of things that they can release, and then they have another layer, and then if they need it, they might have a third layer, right?
And the information is very valuable when it's kept undercover too. So when you're trying to get his vote or you're trying to influence his actions, and you say, well, you do remember that we know these things about you. But I don't think he has a long congressional career, and it wouldn't shock me if it was this time around.
Yeah.
You know.
So, by the way, just side note politically, just because I've noticed this, I told Stu this, it's just kind of weird. John, I think you might have an opinion on this too. Do you follow or do you ever see Eric Greitens on Instagram?
Yeah. Not Instagram. I see him on Twitter once.
So
in a while.
he posts these things, and look, John and I were both very close with Eric at one point.
Yeah.
I introduced him to you, but he literally gets like 6 likes and a few people watching it. I mean, talk about falling. But
Well, and it looks like
he does these videos, and I think some of them are like a little bit like Tony Robbins-esque, if you will. But there's no engagement on it at all.
Who's interviewing him? That's what I want to know, because it looks like a lot of people. Like I'll take a clip from different shows that people will send to me that I'm on, and I'll post them. But all of these things that he's posting, it looks like different podcasts or different interviews. I don't know who's interviewing.
Yeah, I don't
him.
think
he's
anyone
just.
is. I think it's just
sitting around having people ask him questions.
I think it is. I think it's something
Yeah, it's
like
kind
that.
of sad.
All right, so going back to the, let's go back to the State of the Union a little bit. Nick Schroer is here, current state senator, former state senator John Lamping is here. So I said this, and honest to God, I don't know if you were paying attention to the speech that night, but I'm following Twitter and watching it, right? Because Twitter can be pretty interesting. Yeah. So I see them, and I can't remember which account it was at first, Libs of TikTok or somebody else, puts this image of the Democrats' alternative State of the Union event, and there's all these big giant frogs on the stage, and then I see a giraffe. I'm like, this is just satire. They're making fun. So I'm like, this is fun. I'm going to repost this because they're making fun of Democrats doing something like, they can't be that dumb to have a bunch of stuffed frogs walking around. Well, in fact, they were. I don't know how much of the country was exposed to that. What the hell was that?
Well, I showed some colleagues, and they go, no, that was probably just one guy doing a stand-up comedy. I said, no, this was their alternative. There is a portion of their party that is so mentally unwell, they think they can dress up like frogs. And I don't know, what is that?
It had some sort of relation to Portland and ice, I think. I don't know.
Oh, I
have
heard
no
an
idea.
explanation of it. It was meant to portray D.C.'s swamp. So these are the frogs of the swamp.
But I also heard there was a relationship
But
to,
they're all
to
the
ice
Democrats.
as well. I heard.
Right, but they're going to get the frogs out.
Yeah. What about the giraffe? Do you know anything
Again,
about the
none
giraffe?
of this crap makes sense that they do. None of it makes sense.
Okay,
It's
so
species neutral. You know, what do we call it? You can decide what species you
Yeah,
want.
they're not in the swamp.
A lot of frogs want to be giraffes and vice versa.
it doesn't make sense, but if you're listening to the legacy media, they're still telling you that Trump's underwater doing all this stuff. I had some audio from Harry Enton yesterday at CNN. This was very interesting because even if you were to press me yesterday and say, okay, where's the polling on immigration after January in Minneapolis and all that, I think we're in trouble there a little bit. Harry Enton and CNN puts up some polls, hasn't hurt Trump at all. So I don't know if that's just an outlier. I have no idea. But
Well, and I
the
think-
conventional wisdom would have been some pain was inflicted.
When
there
you've got
politically.
trucks driving the opposite way down Highway 61 from people that can't speak English, they're here from Minnesota, very foreign last name. I'm not going to say if they're illegal or not, but I know people in law enforcement are telling me they were here illegally. I think when issues like that, and a couple days later it happened in Ohio again, that's where I think the focus is back on public safety and the border. And all of these people that Biden let in and the Democrats let in for so many years are now posing risks to our families. My chief of staff lives in Troy. I've got family on my wife's side that lives in Troy. And, God forbid, if they would have been injured by this thing, thankfully nobody was injured. They ended up apprehending this guy.
That was nuts. It was
that
nuts.
was
I
insane.
couldn't believe it.
For 5 miles
Yeah.
in a 18-wheeler.
Which Sue and I were talking about this. Maybe it's good that it was an 18-wheeler, because if it's a car, you might not have the time to say, what the
Yes.
hell is that coming right
Right,
toward me,
yeah.
right? All right, hang tight, guys. It's the Reardon Roundtable. We're live out here in Cottleville at the Knights of Columbus All Fish Fry Fridays. Coming back with more.
A couple of issues out there on the roads. Now, if you are just headed out, one of those is southbound on 55, right there at the 44 split. Looks like a vehicle off the road on the right side, so they've got the right shoulder blocked. But now we've got a report of an accident on eastbound 44, just past the King Bridge entrance, so just coming out of the depressed section. Expect a slow go that goes back through the Poplar. Now, the other incident was an accident. It's out on 70, and it's westbound just before you get to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. They've got the left lane blocked, and we've got a jam that goes back past Highway K. Now, also on 70, an accident reported kind of, we'll just call it east of Jennings Station Road. And that one is an eastbound accident, causing a delay there. Westbound 40, the usual volume, Kings Highway, out through McCausland. And an accident reported now on southbound 270. And this one is past Doherty Ferry, closer to Big Bend. Some volume there, and in fact, that volume goes in pockets back through Page. And 55 is slowing again. This time, it's right there at Bates. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Traffic brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. And Overhead Door Company of St. Louis can come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. It's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com.
The time is 3:38. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The road this afternoon, live from the Knights of Columbus Hall in Cottleville. It's all sponsored by Apache Village RV Center. Sue will have a live Sue's News in the next hour. The line to see that is out the door.
No
right
one
now.
is here.
Well, no, there are people here. You're lying about that. There's people in the room.
Okay,
Actually,
well, that's
there's more
true.
people in the room in this hour than there was last year. They are lining up for the fish, but we have a good couple of tables in front of us. Watching the team here, former State Senator John Lapping on the panel, current State Senator Nick Shore. Just quick update on what's going on. You're at the midway point of this session at this point?
A couple weeks left until we get to spring break, and it's still crazy that we have
thank
a
God
spring
you
break.
get a spring break, too.
Oh my
I really
gosh.
want to make
That
you guys.
ticks me
if
off.
anyone deserves a spring break, it's you guys.
Exactly. Well, we're a couple weeks out, and I think next week you're going to see two things happening. One, my bill on juvenile justice reform, the catch and release of all these kids that go on to commit more heinous crimes. That's going to be up with sentencing reform as well, truth in sentencing. On the House side, I think they're going to bring up the latest version of the income tax bill, voted out of committee, and then that should be debated either later in the week or next week. All of these things will be happening before the spring break.
But on the income tax situation, you're talking about passing something that would end up on a ballot for Missourians to decide on.
Correct.
Right?
So what you would see happening, it's going to be a two-step process. You would have to take it to the ballot, and if approved by voters, to get away and phase out income tax and go to more of a consumption tax. Is that raising taxes on these goods and services? That debate, that secondary debate, is going to be a doozy, and that will be next year if the voters approve it.
So, John, thoughts on that? How do you think, that's obviously one of the cornerstone pieces of legislation that the governor has, latched onto. He thinks this is a priority. Are they going to get it done?
Well, I think they're going to get it to the ballot. That it'll happen. It'll even at the PQ in the Senate, they'll get it to the ballot.
But people would say, on a pretty simple ballot issue, do I want my income tax to go down? Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I think there's a very few things that a state can do that can provide for the kind of opportunity for economic growth that this eliminating your state income tax can do. There's 9 states in the country that have done it. When Tennessee did it way back in 1959, their economy was about a third less the size of our economy. It's almost a third more the size of our economy now. If you think about the incentive system, what motivates us all from when we're little kids until the day we die. And when you tax something, you get less of it. So when you tax income, the incentive to go create income, you disincent that. And so I think that this is the only thing that really can change our economic trajectory in Missouri. And I don't like this process. I don't like going to the ballot to get permission. I think the legislature could take this on themselves, but it'd be a very big heavy lift.
What will end up, because John and I introduced John because he's got cool hair too, to my hairstylist Allison. So we both go to Allison, and we don't pay taxes on that, right? So there's different services that might be taxed.
And that's the fight that's going to happen if voters approve us to phase out income tax, and then all the politicians are saying, what are we going to make it up with? Well, easy. Let's cut spending.
That's crazy.
Let's tighten the belts.
You can't do that, Nick.
Exactly. Well, I think we're going to have to. We're going to have to. We've been so reliant upon the federal money and all of this overtaxation that I think is theft, real estate taxation, personal property taxation. And those two things, those could be in the equation when we take this to the ballot. There is a talk with the Freedom Caucus and other conservatives of putting into the ballot measure that you would read when you go to vote that if we do raise taxes on consumption base, if we go more of a flat tax, so to speak, the municipalities will not gain an extra dollar. Any new money made that they have, they will have to pick either phasing out personal property tax or phasing out real estate tax. I don't know how the rest of the Republicans feel in the Missouri House, but we're salivating. Yeah, if we have an opportunity to get rid of income tax, to phase out personal property and or real estate tax, and still be able to provide for your police, your fire.
The income tax thing, think about it in these simplistic terms, and I'll just use some round numbers to make it easy to understand. So if you earn $100,000, you pay 5%, you pay $5,000 in state income taxes. If you have to pay an additional 5% sales tax when you get your hair cut, you have to spend $250,000 to not be better off. Okay, like the additional sales tax, you have to spend $250,000 in order to be worse off. The math works perfectly.
Yeah.
And then in reality, what happens is in our state, we have a huge number of retirees that become Florida citizens. They're obligated to be in Florida for 5 months or so out of the year. They can fudge that. So
I believe some of them are on the Roundtable panel.
Yeah, and so they stop paying Missouri state
Not
income
today,
taxes.
to be clear.
In retirement, and there's a lot of retirement income. And then all of this All these economic incentive packages that we put together, try to get people to come here. You tell them there's no income tax, you don't need economic incentive packages.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I love the most, because I think all these tax credits are BS, when there's no income tax, guess what tax credits are worth? Nothing.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, look, I think it would be an amazing achievement, but the left is going to keep, and the Democrats are going to keep saying, look, we don't have enough revenue to make up the difference.
Which is mind-blowing because they're wanting to fund all of their little pet projects that should not be funded by the state government. Case in point, there was something last year. It was called the Rabbit's Hollow or something like that. It was some museum. I looked into it. I don't know why. I'm not on the budget committee, but I don't know why the state is funding a private museum. It was the Rabbit Hole Museum. And I asked somebody, I said, are we really going down the rabbit hole? Like, what are you talking about? Well, it's in our budget. We're sending like $5 million. Now, thank God Governor Kehoe vetoed it. But there's so many instances where you look and you figure out, okay, this is a pet project. Why are we funding this? Oh, it's for this Democrat senator. And that's one of the reasons why they're going to fight so hard against this, is that's the only power that they have in the state government today, is being able to send millions upon millions of your tax dollars back to their Democrat-run districts to fund things that the government should have no obligation to step in.
Why do you hate bunnies? Look at my bunny Oreo. Why do you hate bunnies?
He's a good bunny. He's not
We're
the
coming
bad
back.
bunny.
We got one more segment of the Roundtable to go here. We're live in Cottleville.
Some good news in traffic. They have cleared that accident out west. Now, this was the one that was westbound 70 before Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Traffic is starting to thin out through there. We've also got a little bit of volume westbound 70 around Jennings Station Road. If you are westbound or will be on 6440, most of the volume there is Kings Highway out through McCausland, and then again Lindbergh through 270 one more time out at Highway N through the 70 split. But there was an accident southbound 55 at 44. Watch for that in the right lane. Looked like a vehicle off the road. And an accident southbound 270 near Big Bend. That one is blocking the left lane and creating a jam behind it. 44 eastbound slowing in the depressed section right there in front of the arch due to an accident. On the Illinois side, eastbound 64 slowing around 157. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, let's talk about your retirement, because if you do not think you have enough to retire on, or if you're wondering that and you want to find some solid advice, you go with Thomas Helbig and the team at the Retirement Advisory Group, because they're going to give you great advice. It's a very changing time. The market's been pretty hot. They're going to give you some secrets. Really not secrets, but their strategy is just different. It's a different approach, and that's safely linking to the market. We do not have a seminar that is officially on the schedule right now. We do 5 a year. We just did one a couple of weeks ago. We'd love to see you at those. It's a group event. Sometimes people feel more comfortable, but if you're on the cusp of retirement, maybe you're in retirement right now, you have questions, you're worried about inflation, get with Thomas and the team. Go one-on-one, call today, 314-993-9494, or the website, retirementkey.com. They're the official financial planners of this show, and Marks and Annie's. They're going to evaluate your situation and give you a custom strategy to make sure you have enough money in retirement. Check out Thomas and the team today at retirementkey.com. All right, one more segment to go here. It's a Reardon Roundtable. We're live at our second stop on the Fish Fry Tour, the Knights of Columbus Hall in Cottleville. And Sue, in particular, is really excited about the food coming out here, I think, right?
I'm going to have shrimp and some baked cod. And Fred and I took a tour of the desserts, and they're all homemade. And there's things from chocolate brownies that look fantastic, but something called a churro cheesecake that I am really intrigued
ice cold
by.
beer over there too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The room is filling up, by the way. It's all sponsored by Apache Village RV Center in Hazelwood and O'Fallon. We appreciate their help. Let me take you guys. John Lapping is here. Nick Short, back to the State of the Union, because we didn't really address this one issue, which is where, and I don't know if this is a custom ad. I think they made one already where the president says, was it risky or not? Will you stand up if you support American citizens over illegal migrants?
I can't believe
and
the Democrats
sat on their hands.
Why? Is it stupidity?
He teed them up. Yeah,
right.
He teed them up, and they walked right into it.
And I think Fetterman may have been the only Democrat that stood up. He stood up at several points, and look, it surprises the hell out of me that John Fetterman is the wisest Democrat, even after having a stroke, even after not being able to speak, having to basically learn all these things again. He even put a suit on and said, look, I'm going to shake Donald Trump's hand. He's doing a great job. Why can't more Democrats do that?
I can't believe it's only one. Look, he ticked off the number of things that he stood for the other night because they were the appropriate things to stand for, right? And it's unreal. And I know that both sides do this. You know, I hate the State of the Union because it tends to be just a big.
But if Joe Biden was president and said, hey, if we're going to prioritize helping the American people over illegal immigrants,
how could you not cheer for that?
Everybody should be
then the president,
standing.
This is funny too. So the president calls them crazy, right? Because they are. And I hear this segment, and a bunch of them, like CNN, Jake Tapper got very indignant, right? He had to ask Dana Bash, the president used this word crazy after they've called us deplorables, Nazis, bigots, homophobes, transphobes, you name it. But crazy, when it fits, by the way, that's a bridge too far, Nick.
Even after all of that target putting and painting a target on the backs of Republicans, especially Donald Trump, has resulted in at least 3 foiled assassination attempts and 1 bullet that actually connected with them. Look, words, I understand, is sticks and stones.
And then something that happened in Mar-a-Lago this week or last week.
A kid who went in with a shotgun and a gas can. You really think you're going to get through all the security? It's mind-blowing, but to me it's indicative of something. It's called mental illness. And when we've coddled it for so long, when society has coddled it, and I've been saying this with friends down at the Capitol, my grandpa was a huge influence. He fought in World War II. He came back and campaigned for JFK and then said, the party's going a little crazy. I'm going to campaign for Ronald Reagan. And in my office in Jeff City, you can see pictures that from the campaign trail that he had of JFK, posters from Ronald Reagan.
That's amazing.
That's
pretty cool.
We need that toxic masculinity back in and say, look, like so many kids that I grew up with when they were anorexic, the teacher said, you're not fat. Let's get you the help that you need. We need people like that in society that aren't going to sit on their hands and just coddle these people who really need the help that they need. We need tough common sense.
Did you see the snowball fight in New York City, John?
I did.
Okay, so Mamdani doubles down, triples down.
Right.
It's just a snowball fight. These cops are getting pelted. I wish I was in that crowd at that little gaggle the other day. I would have hauled one right at Mamdani's face. And then what do? It's just a snowball fight.
And yet what I said earlier in the show was the fact that he's polling very high. The variables are very high.
They love him, right?
Know? But it's like, who's left in New York? I mean, this is it's like, it's very well-to-do, highly educated, mostly single women, and those that are in need and entitlements.
Okay, but let's talk about a year from now when he doesn't deliver, because he can't deliver that stuff.
No,
He can raise taxes.
Yeah.
He can raise your property taxes.
Yeah.
He'll do that, and we'll see how many people move out.
He's going to do a lot of damage to the business community, almost starting right now, and it'll just be a function. It'll be a function of do the upper middle class feel it or not in Manhattan? But I thought
They're about to.
Yeah, to your point before, though, I think that when Trump asked that question, I think that was a masterstroke. And to the extent that the Republican Party, I've seen the commercial they've done already. They can do it over and over and over again. And one of the Democrats' greatest strength is that they stick together, and that herd mentality is what they are. And what happened is they looked around and nobody stood up, so they figured the herd's got to stay down. And they sit down for everything else.
But yet they could stand for let's ban insider trading, something that when they've had the full majority, they can't get it across the finish line. They ended up standing for that, but
Nancy
not the line.
Did.
Yeah, not Nancy.
But Nancy did.
Pocahontas,
the largest insider trader. You know that there's billions in dollars that are managed that all they do is track the trading of the Congress people.
Really?
There's apps that you can find that focus just
Yeah.
on certain
Well, I didn't know that. That's
congressional
kind of fun.
members.
Yeah.
John Lapping, great to see you. Thank you. I know it's your neck of the woods. We appreciate it. We might see you next week as well.
Yeah, back in my hometown.
Senator Schroer, great to have you as well. It's always good to see you.
Thanks for kicking
I didn't
it off.
get to the. I wanted to get to the speed limit topic. You think we're going to increase the speed limit?
To 6-7.
We, my daughter would love that. Thank you, Nick Shore. We're going to come back with, I think we're going to talk to Kevin from the Fish Fry, get the menu kind of settled here this afternoon. I can smell, for like, in the last 2 minutes is when I started smelling the fish.
Oh,
you
it's
have
here.
food over there already.
Uh-huh.
Sue Thomas, you big cheater. We're coming back live. It's sponsored by Apache Village RV Center with the Knights of Columbus Hall in Cottleville.
We've got an accident on southbound 270 near Big Bend, and it's been blocking the left lane. Traffic is really stacked up behind it. It's heavy back to the Clayton Road overpass, but you've got moderate volume that stretches all the way back through Olive. Southbound 141 is really jammed at 44. And someone got to me on X and said, hey, what's going on westbound 44 in the Valley Park area? Well, MoDOT not reporting anything, and those cameras are out, but I see the jam. So it starts right around Bowles and continues past 141. Once you get past there, things will open up. I assume it's an accident that just hasn't been reported yet. Westbound 64, that's a slow go. It's Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound, of course, is slowing at Big Bend. And then out west, a little bit off the pace there, approaching Highway N out through the 70 split. Now, westbound 70, little volume at Jennings Station Road, and slowing again, headed for K, and then it looks better. And if you're headed into Illinois, we look fine on the bridges downtown. 55 southbound, though, slowing around Bates. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Round two for the Clintons. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Former President Bill Clinton spending the day behind closed doors with the House Oversight Committee for a deposition about Jeffrey Epstein.
But let's be real, we're talking to the wrong president today.
Virginia Congressman Suhas Subramaniam among the Democrats who want President Trump to testify. Former President Clinton telling lawmakers he never saw or did anything wrong a day after Hillary Clinton's deposition. President Trump says he's not hearing what he wants to hear from Iran.
We can't put up with it too long. We're not happy with the negotiation. They just don't want to. They don't want to say the key words. We're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They have to say we're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
Iran keeps insisting it has a right to enrich uranium for civilian purposes. President Trump not saying exactly how long Iran has before he makes a final decision on military strikes. Vice President Vance meeting today with Oman's foreign minister, who's been mediating talks. The State Department just repeating a warning for Americans in Iran to leave now. Earlier, the U.S. Embassy in Israel telling non-essential staff it's time to go if they want to leave. President Trump is ordering all federal agencies to phase out the use of Anthropic technology after the company's public dispute with the Pentagon over the safety of artificial intelligence.
Anthropic says it will not agree to allow the Pentagon to use its artificial technology in ways it says would undermine rather than defend democratic values. Its CEO released a statement after holding discussions with U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who demanded Anthropic allow the military any lawful use of its tools. Anthropic has stated concerns the Pentagon could use the technology, such as its AI known as Claude, for mass surveillance and autonomous weaponry.
Fox's Evan Brown. Anthropic rejecting a Pentagon offer to settle the dispute over restrictions. President Trump posting the company is out of control. America is listening to Fox News.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-983-2077 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-983-2077. That's 800-983-2077. What do you have to lose? Call 800-983-2077. Again, 800-983-2077.
Hey, we are at the Knights of Columbus Hall in Cottleville, beautiful Cottleville, Missouri, on a beautiful day, nice and sunny. Sue, when we've been here in the past, I think it's been a little chilly because I remember being next to this door, but it is gorgeous. Today we're in the 70s. It's nice and sunny, just a little breezy out there. They are starting to serve the fish here. This room is really getting crowded. I had been reminded, I know you referred to this in the last hour, but the desserts are awesome.
They are all homemade. The churro cheesecake is especially intriguing.
We're going to talk about some stuff here with the organizers, but I have to tell you one story. And Fred, I don't even think I told you this. So last night I get home, and we were trying to figure out. Becky and Alexa are heading to Chicago. They're actually there right now for a shower. My niece is having twins, so they took off this morning, and they were kind of doing some packing last night. We were trying to keep dinner relatively simple, and Becky had texted me when I was on the air and said, "Hey, pizza and a salad, is that all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead, whatever." So sometimes I would maybe pick up at Domino's. I actually like Domino's, but she was at Schnucks and she said, "Should I just get one here?" I'm like, "Yeah, get one here." So it might have been the worst pizza that I ever had, and I had the salad, and then I ate like literally maybe a half of a piece of pizza, and then the rest of the pizza, Alexa and Becky kind of opted out, right? Guess who did not opt out and ate the rest of the entire pizza?
The puppy.
Max. Ate the rest of the pizza.
How did he get to it?
Because he put his paws on the kitchen counter.
My gosh.
The piece that I was eating was on the higher part of the breakfast bar, but we were downstairs watching Traitors, the season finale of like one of the worst television shows that's been ever on, but I watch it. And I better not say who won. Spoiler alert.
No, don't do it.
But seriously, Becky yells down and says, "Max just ate the whole pizza."
Oh my!
So
have we seen
I
the
dropped him
results?
off at daycare. He's at No Leash Needed this morning. I told him that he's super carved up, and he's going to play. There were no remnants of anything that happened overnight.
That's coming
But
tomorrow.
that's a lot of cheat. I know.
Yeah, it's coming.
It is coming. Anyway, sorry to paint that picture right before Kevin. We're going to talk about this fish fry. Kevin Lose is here, who is the what is your king of the fish fry in Cottleville? What's your title?
Well, I'm actually the vice president of the Home Association, but I'm mainly the dishwasher in the back.
Oh, stop it! What's your? Do you have an official title with Knights of Columbus or not?
No, I used to be the Grand Knight.
Okay.
Now I'm just a member.
All right, but that's okay. You're a former Grand Knight. We could say that, right?
Correct.
We also have Stephen Thompson, who is the mayor of Cottleville, who's with us this afternoon. Mayor Thompson, how are you?
Oh, I'm good.
One of the things that we always say, I want to get back to Kevin in a second with the food, but we always, and we made this observation, Stephen, in the last hour. I've been coming out here for maybe 10 years because I have a friend who was married and had a reception in Cottleville, and I've never been there until that point, maybe 10, 11 years ago. But then 4 years in a row we've been coming here. It's amazing the amount of growth that Cottleville's had in a very short period of time, right?
It is. Last 15 years, I would say it started slowly as a catalyst, and last, believe 8 years, it just took off like crazy.
Why is that? What do you think it is? I mean, obviously a lot of the population growth has been out here anyway.
It's a couple of reasons. One, we are lucky in terms of the geographical location. We are sandwiched between St. Peter's, O'Fallon.
Right.
That helps us. And then the small, quaint.
Yeah, it's charming, right?
Charming.
There's not a lot of that. There certainly are areas in St. Louis suburbs, but not quite like Cottleville.
That is true. And all it started because of, if you don't realize, it's a golf cart community.
Yeah.
That was the biggest selling point way back when all this started. So one thing led to another, and here we are.
That's awesome.
We have chaotic problems as well, which is all good problems. And
but you have to have, there's got to be infrastructure problems, right, with all the added population and building and everything?
I don't think so in that terms. It's all great problems to have. Yes, obviously, there could have been some proactiveness earlier, which we are catching up. But overall, we are in a real great futuristic path right now. It's all exciting and amazing in Cottleville.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, we love it. We probably arguably don't get out here as much. But, Kevin, let's talk about the fish fry. It's one of our favorites, which is why we're back. And you always have unique menu items. So what's on the menu here?
Well, we have cod, shrimp, catfish. We went back to our old catfish. We tried a different one last year.
Uh-oh, what
got
happened?
some feedback. That
really?
It was the sway. So I guess some people like the more traditional river bottom catfish. So
Fair enough.
That's what we went for.
Who knew?
Hush puppies. Everybody gets hush puppies. Yeah, I didn't grow up here, so spaghetti is new to me.
I know, that's a weird thing to me, too.
Fred likes it.
Yeah. But that's a little bit for the kids, right?
Well, so my grandkids came last week, and that was I think they're really St. Louisans now because they go, hey, I love the spaghetti. But we also have mac and cheese, French fries, coleslaw, green beans. You can get whatever you want.
Yeah. How many people are we serving here today, you think?
Oh, we'll probably serve north of 1,000.
North of 1,000.
Holy
That's
cow.
bigger than what we had last week.
Holy
but
cow.
This is another thing that I remember because are you officially serving food right now or not?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I
because
see
the
it.
line, you've had a big crowd in here for at least a half an hour already. So
They've been
the
waiting
crowd
for it
wants
to
to
open.
get here early, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then you're open until when?
We're open till 7:30, and probably by about 5:30 they'll be out the door.
So what just happened? Something just happened. There was just a stage.
More
run,
people
we-
came in.
and about
we opened up the
150
second
people
line.
just came in.
We opened up the second line.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have one line at the other end there. They're still serving the same thing as over
The
here?
other side too.
Oh, I'm a little
They're
slow.
pros,
okay.
Mark. They're
I've only been here for
professionals.
4 years, and I'm noticing that. And then the bar is in the middle. It's beautiful. This is a great
Bar's in the
room.
middle.
Yeah, it really
It's
is
a big,
a great
beautiful room, right?
That's correct. We can house about 350 people in the hall. If we
Awesome.
want to, so.
That is great.
Hey,
well,
Kevin,
The
what-
other thing I'll say, just real quick, when the line is long, we also have catfish in a cup that we give people for free.
Are you kidding me?
It's
okay, what is
more
that
of
exactly?
It's a beer.
Describe. Well, oh, it's,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's a beer.
What's your biggest seller, Kevin? Like, what do people go? Because every time I'm here, I get the cod and I get the shrimp. The shrimp are good, and I know Fred likes the hush puppies. But do you have like one that goes more than anything else?
Really, the cod and shrimp are probably the most popular, but then it just really depends on the person.
Okay. Yeah. What they like.
Yeah. And then everybody gets hush puppies for free. So if you love hush puppies,
are
they're
well,
great.
that we are we're missing our good friend Jane Duker. And for
She
those
loves
people
the
who
hush
still might
puppy.
not be caught up by that, but she was obviously on our panel for many years on the Roundtable. She went to work for the Attorney General, Catherine Hanaway. So she's got a real job and can't do as much blabbing on the radio and on social media, but we miss her. But we do remember that the Hush Puppies was one of her favorite things when we came out here to Cottleville. So do you have anything else that you want to tell people about just coming out here? Any advice? Parking? The parking lot tends to be pretty crowded, right?
Well, we have 2 6-person golf carts. Obviously, if somebody
can do a little
has
shuttling.
Yeah, we shuttle
nice.
folks from toward the end of the road. But if you have a transportation issue like a special disability you have need to address, just drop off at the front door. We'll take care of you.
Awesome.
But I would like to say thank you guys for being here with us. It's just always a pleasure to have you, and I know folks listen to you throughout the course of the year, but to see you live is
we love
really
it.
awesome.
We really do. It's fun for us to get out. We don't get out as much as we really would like to, because these are a little complicated to put together. Brian's out here running the show for us. Ethan back in the studio. There's resources that always come up, unfortunately. But we've been, able to pull this off now for 4 years.
Yeah, we
so
do
that's
appreciate
cool.
it.
And I'm the one giving out the free beer, so you have to come and meet me.
Awesome. The mayor is doing that. So before
usually it's the Archbishop Carlson.
Last week.
That's right.
Wasn't he here last year?
Yeah, he was last week.
So what happened this year?
He has friends going to Florida from Minnesota, so he had to stay home and
All right, so you're doing
So
the
I
bartending.
took that spot, yeah.
That is awesome. So you've been mayor for how long now?
10 months,
10
exactly.
months? And you were on the Board of Aldermen here before that?
Yes, I was, yeah.
So was that your first foray into politics, though?
That is correct,
Yeah,
yes.
how's that going?
I don't call this as politics. It's a small town.
Yeah.
It's a community service.
Right.
That's what I take
Yeah,
it.
you're focused on the community, not,
It's not
issuing
about
news
politics.
releases on what's happening in Gaza and stuff like that, right? I like that. I appreciate that you're micro-focused on the community. Well, it's a beautiful community. We really like it a lot. Kevin, we love you and the fish fry out here. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And let me give Sue just the list of where we'll be in the coming weeks so people know. Again, Apache Village RV Center is our sponsor. We'll be in South County next week, Assumption Catholic Church on the 6th, on the 13th, St. Mary Magdalene in Brentwood, Queen of All Saints in Oakville on the 20th, March 27th, Ott's Tavern and Fish Stand in Millstadt. So they'll all be over before you know it. Still to come on this show, though, Sue's going to do a live Sue's News. The crowd will be able to witness that. Fred's going to sit down and participate. Paul Hall with some film reviews and some streaming reviews. We have this DTF St. Louis. I can't even tell you what DTF stands for, or I'd get my FCC license revoked. That premieres on Sunday on HBO. That was not filmed here in St. Louis, but we'll kind of get into that. And also Scream 7 in the theaters. So a bunch of stuff. Cusumano's going to run down the Cardinals. I hear Ethan told me J.J. Weatherholt had a home run today. So that's a big deal.
Good.
Mike Elam, the chair of the St. Charles County Council at 5:04. And my friend Chris Smith is coming by here. And a bunch more stuff, plus an audio cut of the day. We're live in Cottleville this afternoon. Come on out. Come on over.
I'll tell you what, on the road, some good news, and that is crews have actually cleared that accident. Now, this one is on southbound 270. It was at Doherty Fair. I'm sorry, it was south of there, closer to Big Bend. In the left lane, it appears to be gone, so traffic hopefully will start unwinding behind it. Now, southbound 170, a little slow at 64. Westbound 70, some moderate volume at Jennings Station Road, and then just west of O'Fallon out through Wentzville. Now, 6440, it's Kings Highway out through the inner belt. Then you get a break, and it slows again. It's just west of Winghaven out through 70. And 44 westbound is slow, headed for 141. If you're headed into Illinois, things look fine on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, welcome back. We are live in Cottleville at the Knights of Columbus Hall, and it is a very crowded room for the fish fry, which is just getting underway. The part of serving the fish is just getting underway. Sue has Sue's News live in just a couple of minutes. We have Paul Hall, and Cusumano is going to give us a little preview of the sports weekend. Fred, you have a little story to share, though, don't you?
Yeah, we've already started eating, Mark.
I know. I can smell it, and I can see it for sure.
So, I'm not the most adept person when it comes to cars. So earlier this week, I slammed the car door, the driver's side door, on my seat buckle, on my seat belt.
Oh, wait, the material part or the buckle?
The buckle part.
The buckle part, the harder part.
And it just messed up the sensor to the car, so it always showed that my car door was unlocked. And it wouldn't chirp when I would hit it.
Right.
It wouldn't lock. It was like,
that's annoying.
I know, it was annoying. So I ended up going to Gap's Car Star to get an estimate for the approval on Green Park Road in South County, figuring I'm going to have to leave it. It's going to take forever. They looked at it, and they hit it with a rubber mallet, and they gave it back to me and said, it's fine. And they fixed it, no charge.
Yeah.
So I just want to give them some love. Very nice. There's still good companies out there.
You say Car Star? Because they are awesome.
Gap's Car Star.
Okay, so I need to go there because this is a true story. I have, there's a little bit of my rear passenger side panel that is coming a little bit to test. Like when I go through the car wash, but then I kind of kick it with my knee, and I'm like, one of these days that's not going to work, right? But maybe I need the rubber mallet because it doesn't seem like. Here's the thing: it doesn't seem like it would be a lot of work. Maybe just some glue, But with a fancy car, wait till. So I'm trying to get away with it, and then you know what's going to happen? It's going to fall off, and then it's going to cost me more money.
Yep, that's 100%.
I know.
I was about to do the black tape thing. You just tape over the lights.
You are in South County.
That's right. Yeah, so, but I don't have to
I
do
heard
that.
that.
Sorry. Hey. Former South City guy. I have nothing against it, but the joke was there. All right, Ethan is back in the studio. Let's do this afternoon.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No. And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Look at that. Fred got some spaghetti. Fred, yes, that's very nice.
Kevin's taking great care of us out here.
Happy National Strawberry Day. I do love a strawberry. If I'm going to eat a flavored anything, like, maybe a milkshake, it's going to be strawberry. Fred?
I'll be a chocolate milkshake, but I love strawberry.
Well, I'm with Fred on the milkshake, but I do love strawberries too. And Oreo, my bunny, loves strawberries.
Do you try all different fruits with him?
Yeah,
I mean, have you done like raspberries too and nothing?
Yeah,
that's it's just strawberries.
He loves sugar. He just loves sugar. Anything with sugar.
That's fair.
It's his high.
It's also,
just like me.
Yeah, me too.
It's also National Retro Day. Now, this is supposed to make the kids appreciate things like dial phones and old school tape decks.
Well, I told you this week there was a story in the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal about kids are buying DVDs now.
Yes, that's so bizarre to me. But that's okay. I mean, go ahead and do it.
It's something they can touch. Vinyl has had a resurgence. I get it.
Yes, vinyl has, and that's for the same reason. Also, it's National Polar Bear Day. Now, there is a woman, well, I guess two of them in my book club, who have gone on this tour, like I guess it's in Canada, I don't know, somewhere where the polar bears are, and they say they put you in almost a tank, like think a military-esque tank, and they paint it white, and they take you out by the polar bears. So that when they come up, they can't hurt you, but you can actually watch
they
them.
Can't eat you. That's good.
You will not die, but they will watch you, and it's really expensive. And but they apparently really enjoyed it, and they say you have no idea. We think we know polar bears and how big they are, but when you see them in person, it will freak
where
you
do they
out.
do that?
I thought it was Canada. Maybe that's wrong. I'll have to ask them.
But they're
again.
doing it in the wild.
In the wild.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they take the rich people out and in a giant white thing.
Well, I was telling you this, that I have friends right now, and I go to Todos Santos, Mexico, and on the Pacific Ocean side, this doesn't happen. You see whales a lot. But on the other side, at La Paz, they have these things called whale sharks. And they're huge, and they can be like the size of a bus, and you can swim with the whale shark. It's incredible. There's only like 7 places on the planet that you can do that. And I recommend highly for those of you who are in a spot like that to swim with the whale sharks.
Do they?
Really cool.
I guess they obviously don't eat people. They plankton?
Yeah.
That is so cool. Would you swim? Come on, Fred.
Oh, they're
totally.
awesome.
Do they like bump up
They're
against
very
you?
gentle. Yeah.
Aw. All right, we have a little music for this because 46 years ago today, in 1980, at the Grammy Awards, the Doobie Brothers won Best Record and Best Song for this one.
With a strong St. Louis connection and Michael McDonald.
That's right.
You notice how I hit the post.
I'm sorry, and then I walked on it. It's my bad. Yep, it's What a Fool Believes, and it was 1980, which is 46 years ago today, which kind of makes me go, what?
That's a great song.
But what a great song. And by the way, at this same Grammys, Billy Joel's 52nd Street won Album of the Year.
Deservedly so.
Right? Totally. It
Great
just
record.
kind of takes you back into that
That was
time.
when we used to nominate things for Grammys that people listened to and they knew.
Yeah, I remember those
One for those days.
And 21 years ago today, I throw this in for Mark just because it's kind of it's a movie thing. But think about this. Go back in time. In 2005, $1 Million Baby won Best Picture and earned Hilary Swank and Best Actress Oscar. Morgan Freeman in his first Oscar for Best Supporting Actor and Best Director for Clint Eastwood.
Yep, that's a great film.
Yeah.
Never really gone back to watch that one.
I wondered if that would be something that you would try this
I would think it would
weekend.
hold up.
I would think. I don't really know.
Look, I'm a fan of most Clint Eastwood directed films.
Yeah,
Even
it
over the
has.
past, he's kept strong to the end.
And they also said, okay, this was Jamie Foxx who won for Ray. That was such a good performance. And The Incredibles won Best Animated Movie.
And it should have.
Agreed.
That was a great film, too, yeah.
All right, now in St. Louis history, it was 27 years ago today in 1999 when the arena was imploded. It was, yes,
just got blown up,
yeah, it was, that thing opened in 1929, and the Blues played there for 27 years. But then they moved downtown, and then eventually, now this is, talk about St. Louis. I was actually on the air then at Kicks, running the board for Steve and DC, who were in a helicopter.
They blowed it up, Oh, wow.
Doing the play-by-play. Well, they're going to blow it up. It was hilarious.
I saw so many concerts there. I saw basketball games there. I saw so many hockey games there.
Yes.
But the image that still comes to mind after all of that is the cloud of smoke that would always hover right in the middle of the arena because we allowed that back then.
Yeah.
I guess the oddest things, I saw a lot of indoor soccer games, steamer games.
Oh, that's
sure.
right.
That's right.
All
Fred.
the time.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw a Billy Graham crusade there.
Oh, wow.
And then so many concerts that the three of us all went to.
Yeah,
We
it's
didn't
so
know
funny.
each other.
We have discovered over the course of the last few years that Sue and Fred and I were in the same building on many occasions and had no idea. We didn't know each other long before our relationship.
Oh my
right?
gosh, that's just so funny. Oh, by the way, Pink says rumors of she and Carrie Hart breaking up are fake
Oh,
news.
good. I hope that's true. You said that yesterday.
You were
yeah.
worried about that.
Well,
I don't like
yes.
to see, yeah, they've had ups and downs, but I like Pink.
So well, she put up a video today, and she said, well, it's interesting to me that I've just discovered my marriage is over when I never told anybody that.
For that.
And she said,
media.
thank you to People Magazine and whatever the other one was, Us Weekly. I mean, it was fairly large ones that said that. She said, so my kids can relax. 'Cause,
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's not happening. All right, now, these are just random science things from throughout the week, but they've made a Scotch tape discovery. Physicists have figured out exactly why tape makes that screeching sound when you peel it off the roll. It creates tiny micro cracks that break the sound barrier.
No.
Basically, it's a bunch of tiny sonic booms.
Wow.
Dude,
That's crazy.
I know. And in horse
Isn't
news,
it just the sound of stickiness and stickiness?
whatever it is, it's
Okay.
loud enough to be a sonic boom. And in horse news, which everyone needs,
Who knew there was going to be horse news
a
today?
study found that the neighing or whinnying sounds that they make are basically a combination of singing and whistling at the same time. Now, the whistling happens down in their throat. Researchers think it might be unique to horses. They are the only animal that does it. They neigh to greet friends and also to celebrate moments like feeding time.
They neigh to greet friends?
Yes!
Wow.
They're very sociable, Fred. That's how that works. Oh, and TV this weekend, I wanted to bring this up. It's the SAG-AFTRA Acting Awards. I don't think we care, do we?
I used to care so much. I didn't even vote.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
And
I still have voting privileges there, but I do have there's a fun, I'll tell a movie story when Paul Hall joins us here in a second.
Oh, okay. You're going to save it. And also, the premiere of Yellowstone spinoff Marshals is this weekend. So I never was a Yellowstone
I don't think I've
person.
seen that. The DTF St. Louis opens, and Paul will talk about that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
We
good.
just can't say what DTF means.
Oh, okay.
Downtown France.
I'd ask my son
What?
over the weekend.
Do you know what it is, right?
I do know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is our good news story. There was a snowplow driver on Long Island, and he saw two dogs running down a highway and saved them from being hit. He followed them for a mile, parked his truck sideways on the road to block traffic, and got them in the back. They didn't have collars, but they had microchips, and now they're back home.
Aww.
We have a little sound from him.
This turn, I looked over and I seen something in the corner of my eye right there. And then I looked in my mirror and I saw a dog. I'm like, that's a dog running. Being an animal lover, being a father, I went right into protection mode. I was going to do whatever I had to do to stop these dogs from getting hurt. And they ended up going into the median right in the middle where it was like 3 feet of snow.
So, isn't
That's a
that
great
nice?
story.
I
Good
love
for
that.
him.
And finally, at Sue's News, today's random fact: Hawaiian Punch was originally developed in 1934 as an ice cream topping. It wasn't sold specifically as juice till 46.
There you go. Wrapping Sue's News.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. The divide between the U.S. government and Anthropic continues to grow. President Trump has announced this afternoon that every federal agency in the government should stop using Anthropic technology. The AI tech firm has had disagreements with the Defense Department in recent weeks over how its tech should be used. The average IRS tax refund is up 10.2% from a year ago, according to early IRS filing data. As of February the 20th, average refund amount was $3,804. Should note, though, that those gains are down from what was reported a week ago when the increase was 14.2%. Wall Street stocks ending the week on a sour note. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 521 points, ending the week at 48,978. NASDAQ fell by 210 points. The S&P 500 was down 30. That's Your Money Now.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SOUND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SOUND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SOUND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL, or visit civialaw.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The time is 4:33. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From St. Peter's to Smithton, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Live in Cottleville this afternoon, Knights of Columbus Hall, Fish Fry Friday, sponsored by Apache Village RV Center. We got some guests that are going to swing by. Mike Elam is going to be here. You hear him on 97.1 FM Talk. He's, of course, the chair of the St. Charles County Council. Are you still chair? You're not chair anymore. You are. Okay. I tried to demote him, and that was not acceptable. Paul Hall is here from Common Guy Films to talk entertainment. How are you, Paul?
I'm good. I always get hungry this segment, Mark. Good things going on there at the KOC, it looks like.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. We are. Before we get into some of the films this weekend and the streaming options, I just wanted to talk about Oscars and awards. I think I missed the deadline to vote for the SAG Awards, but really I didn't vote for the SAG Awards, even though I can still do that, because I haven't seen the movies, all right? So we know, Paul, as I'm a former member of the Broadcast Film Critics, you've been a member for a long time. It's along the lines of the Golden Globes and the SAG Awards and the Oscars. You vote for the best films, best actors, all this stuff. We know over the years there's been rumors about Hollywood that, you know, people would get their screeners, their DVDs, or now it's streaming, and they let the family members watch it, and then they vote on things that they haven't seen. So I didn't know this. Paul, you probably did. But they now are having a mandate that they're going to test out. In order to vote, you have to watch all the nominated movies. So Glenn Whipp, who wrote about this in the LA Times, he says, this may seem obvious, but until this year, the Motion Picture Academy operated entirely on the honor system, strongly encouraging members to see everything before voting. Let me tell you something. That's not even quite physically possible. So I know people were voting for things because they think they're going to be the winner, or they won the Golden Globe or the Critics' Choice. So what's going to happen now is they have to certify through the screening portal that they have viewed the nominated films in each category to be eligible to vote in that category. The nominations were announced in January. The Academy's been emailing voters with updates on their progress, indicating when they're cleared to vote and when they still have work to do.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you go by category? In other words, if I've watched all of them in one, do I have to watch all of everything,
no,
or can I just watch one?
In that category, I think is what they're saying. They say members, they say there's a wrinkle and it's not a small. Members can simply check a box indicating that they've watched a movie outside of the platform. Maybe they saw it in the theater, at a festival, or something else. So you're still having a little bit of the honor system. But Paul, will you dial into all that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we have kind of that same rule in BFCA. Very similar. They want us to watch everything in a given category. And quite frankly, Mark, I still am in that category where I watch literally hundreds of films between October and December.
Well, no, I know. And I used to do the same thing. But they in the LA Times, they talked to anonymous voter. And this voter loved Ethan Hawke's turn as Lorenz Hart in Blue Moon, but hated Marty Supreme, turned it off 20 minutes after starting it. So since the Academy Screening Room counts a movie as watched if only it's viewed in entirety, the voter told me they planned on restarting Marty Supreme one night and running it on mute so he could vote for someone else in the lead actor category, right?
Wow.
So you know that that's my point. There's workarounds here, and they're going to find the workarounds.
Hey, Paul, what's the most number of movies you've watched in a day?
I think the biggest one I got, including shorts, was 13.
Wow.
Yeah, I've watched.
So they had
I've
some
watched
in there that were
4.
25 or 35 minutes long.
Right. I've watched 4 back in the days leading up to nominations. Absolutely. All right, Paul. 13. Let's get to the theaters this weekend, and Ethan's got the soundbite back in the studio. Let's go.
1, 2, 3. The Beatles have been my whole life, really. When we split up, I thought, I'll never write another note of music ever. I had fear of being a grown-up. I felt very depressed, but I was very lucky because I had Linda.
Well, I've been looking forward to this.
Me
It's
too.
Man on the Run. It's a documentary about Paul McCartney. Morgan Neville, who's an outstanding documentarian, does this film. Is this theatrical for a short time?
No, it is. Well, it's on Prime Video now. So for all you folks who have Amazon Prime and Prime Video, go home and you get a chance to watch this. Now, I have to say, up front, I was not necessarily the biggest Beatles fan. I'm one of those people who, you kind of love them or hate them. I was in that, okay. I like McCartney more after having seen this than I ever did before, as this portrayal takes you from post-Beatles through the Wings era with Linda, including all the controversy and all the crazy things going on. And it really is incredible the way they personalize McCartney.
Well, and I mentioned Morgan Neville. Look, this is a guy that's done some of the best documentaries in the past 20 years. 20 Feet from Stardom, Won't You Be My Neighbor, the one about Fred Rogers.
That was so good.
Roadrunner, a film about Anthony Bourdain. He also did the Steve Martin documentary in 2 pieces from last year. So he is really skilled as a storyteller. I'm really looking forward to this.
Hey, Paul,
definitely worth checking out.
What made you like him more? Was it just getting to know him?
Yeah, and that's what it was, because this didn't deal with the Beatles run-up. And I think people that are just slightly younger than me right now don't know how big of a star Paul McCartney was, and the Beatles were at one point. They think Taylor Swift, but take Taylor Swift and multiply it times 10. That's where the Beatles were in the lexicon of American music, or of world music, really. I mean, because, of course, Liverpool, a big, important part of this. But quite frankly, this is one of those, all I ever knew growing up was Linda couldn't sing. This was something, we didn't like her because she was
Wow.
And there's a lot more to this story than one soundbite. And as we all know that have worked in the radio era, in the radio business, know one soundbite can really break someone, even when it's a good one.
Well, I was not unlike you. I think what you were saying I can relate to when it comes to the Beatles. In the 70s, when I was coming of age and just starting to buy records and things like that, I was more into the Stones and Zeppelin. I had appreciation for the Beatles, but believe it or not, I was a bigger fan of Paul McCartney before
that's
the Beatles,
interesting.
because
Me too.
I loved a lot of the Paul McCartney stuff. That was what was coming out when I was 10, 11, 12 years old.
That's right.
So I became a Paul McCartney fan before a Beatles fan. Now, later years, I love the Beatles, and I discovered a lot of the Beatles, but it took me a little while.
Same.
So I can't wait for this. I'm really looking forward to it. What else you got this weekend? Either streaming or on the big screen?
Yeah, it's kind of a streaming weekend for me. There was of course, big release of Scream 7 in theaters. I didn't get out to see that, so I can't tell you, but I can tell you this. It's doing a lot of ticket sales. The advance tickets have been going fast. The theaters tonight are filled up for this. So if you're a Scream fan, go out and see that. Order those tickets in advance, or you may be left in the cold.
And this is where
waiting to get in.
Nev Campbell's making a return here, right? After skipping Scream 6, is that what I hear?
Yep.
Okay.
She's back.
All right.
There's a big series starting this weekend, Mark.
Yes, and we can't say the name of it, can we? DTF St. Louis. Have you seen it?
I started to watch it earlier today, and I'll tell you what, it's not your father's streaming series. Now, earlier this week, I sat in on a press conference with the creator and a bunch of the stars, including Jason Bateman, David Harbour, Linda Cardinelli, and others. And the first question out of the blocks from the moderator of our press conference was, why St. Louis? Why did they pick St. Louis? Because I think this is the question we all want to know, right? There's no good reason. There's no good reason. In fact, he kind of glossed over the fact that they were in St. Louis. He said, well, why not Columbus or somewhere else other than St. Louis? Well, turns out it's just they wanted some suburban community, middle America, where, people had their lives falling apart and go to this dating app and do these things. Basically, it's down to fool around, we'll call it. That's the easiest way to say it without being too
outside
graphic.
of,
you can put the other one in there when you know.
Okay, outside of the name and the title and set in St. Louis, is there any kind of things related to St. Louis in this at all?
Anything at all?
I haven't seen enough of it yet to know.
Okay.
I will have probably 4 episodes in by the time the first one airs on Monday. And I will put something up on my site at commonguy.com on Sunday that'll clue you into a little bit what I can outside of spoilers. And there's a lot of spoilers as it gets intense, it gets a little heated as we go. So to each their own. I'm not going to judge it from that standpoint in any way, shape, or form, but it's fun to see your name in lights, even if it's in a bad way.
And that's on HBO Max, right?
Yeah, that's starting on Max. It premieres first episode Sunday night on March 1st.
All right, you got anything else?
This week we lost another person. I mean, we've been losing people up one side and down the other. Robert Carradine passed away this week. Now, a lot of people may not know the name that quickly off the top of their head, but the story I have on Robert Carradine is this. When I was a young buck, I won some tickets to go see a screening at the of Revenge of the Nerds at a theater, and I talked my dad into taking me, God rest his soul, but he didn't know that it was an R-rated movie. And we sat down, and this happened to be my first R-rated movie experience in the theaters. Now, my dad didn't cover my eyes. I don't know if my dad cared one way or another in his own way, but quite frankly, what an experience for your first R-rated theatrical movie. That was a little over 40 years ago this year.
Do you remember what your first R movie was, Fred? That you saw legit?
No.
You don't?
No,
I remember
don't.
mine. Sue?
My parents took me to Ordinary People.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty heavy.
And I'm not sure why.
The first one was, I cheated because we were at a drive-in, and the second film was Shampoo with Warren Beatty. And I think I caught a little boob action just from behind in the back seat.
That is hilarious.
And but my first R-rated film that my dad took me to was Animal House.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that you went straight for R.
But
big,
I mean,
big R.
that's not that hard of an R.
Well,
it really
I
isn't.
guess not.
It's, again, the aforementioned
It would be
female body
PG
parts,
now.
but
Yeah.
but that was the first one.
Okay, that's
remember.
funny. Fred, you really don't know?
No, I don't.
Fred's never been to an R-rated movie. That's the
Maybe-
thing.
maybe that's
He's
it.
so strict on
That was the
language and
first,
everything like that.
First R-rated movie in a theater for me. There were many times I was looking through the bars on Select TV and Max Scrambled on my
Yes.
TV at home. So I'm
talking about the theaters for sure. All right, tell folks where they can find your reviews.
SimpleCommonGuy.com.
Thank you. We'll talk next Friday from another fish fry, actually. Frank Cusumano is on deck.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some volume on the Illinois side. If you're an eastbound 64 driver, it's slowing on either side of 157. That all due to road work. 70 westbound, moderate volume there at Jennings Station Road and out at Highway A through Wentzville. 64, it's heaviest approaching Hampton out through McCausland. And eastbound is slow 170 through Big Bend, but out west it lines up like a Friday. And that would be Highway N out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, slow pockets, mainly from Ladue Road, but it goes down through Gravois. And southbound 141 is just the usual jam as you head down toward 44, which does have some moderate volume. 141 to the west. And 55, that's mainly a slow go at Bates. But other than that, we're fine. If you're driving through North County on 270 westbound, it looks great. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
2026 is an election year, and 97.1 FM Talk will be your home for every twist and turn in the 2026 midterms. 97.1 FM Talk. Keep it here for radio coverage that's 25 years strong.
Triton Exteriors. We take care of your home. It's that simple. Triton-STL.com. Home improvement projects can come with a lot of headaches. We save you time by offering packaged services that are easy to understand and based on your needs. We take care of the details so you don't have to. Visit us at Triton-STL.com. That's Triton-STL.com.
We often have some of the sponsors come by at the fish fries. I want to think about Susan L. Warden getting her by one of these here soon. She is a family practice attorney. Not always the best area of the law if you're in a situation where you need a family practice attorney, but what you do want to get is experience. And I've shared my story, goes back a couple of decades, maybe 2.5 decades, which is hard to believe. I went to another attorney friend of mine and said, I need a divorce lawyer. And I got someone who had no experience whatsoever, and that did not work out very well for me. So, first and foremost, don't make that mistake. How do you pick your lawyer? If you go to Susan's website at stlfamilylaw.com, click on the tab that says About, and there's a great section on choosing an attorney and how she would even suggest sit down with her face-to-face, get to know her, see if you have a little bit of a vibe. Maybe you don't have that feeling. I think you will, because she's so good at what she does here in St. Louis and with a ton of experience. So call the office. Don't put off a call. Should be your first call. 314-783-9400. The website, stlfamilylaw.com. The focus on family law. The emphasis on you, Susan L. Ward.
There's no better way to upgrade your backyard than by calling my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck Company. Mark Cox here, locally owned and operated for 58 years now, and it is a sign you have the very best because they're so proud of what they do. They offer fences, of course, and decks, and sunrooms, and screen rooms, and patios, retaining walls, and so much more. Chesterfield Fence and Deck takes so much pride in what they do because they've done it for so many people. When they come over to your house, they'll give you a free estimate, no obligation, free project design. They'll take out their digital photo gallery of completed projects and let you see what other people are doing, and then you can make it your own. When they do their work, they give you a 5-year labor warranty and a comprehensive material warranty, and they're highly rated with the Better Business Bureau, of course. Reach out to them today. Tell them you heard about it from Mark Cox. You're going to get 48 months interest-free financing on your next project. Go to chesterfieldfence.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
Here. I didn't even realize that.
Oh,
Talking
sorry.
to the crowds out here at the fish fry. Ethan did tell me we were just a minute off. He was getting Frank Cusumano online. Is he there, Ethan?
Yes.
Frank, how are you?
Good to be with you. I hope you're eating well.
Well, we are eating very well. We'd love to get
Thanks,
you out at one of
Frank.
these things, but let's tick off a bunch of things in the sports world. First of all, the Blues got back in action last night, and they secured a victory after the break.
Mark, it's a 25-game sprint to the finish. To be realistic, when you began the night in 31st place, you almost have to win 20 out of 25, which seems like a pipe dream. But if you watch the Blues last night, you believe, oh my goodness, how good can they be? Dylan Holloway, who's missed like 23 of the last 24 games, has a hat trick. And Joel Hofer was really good in goal, so you never know. They did it the last time, 19-4-3 after the Four Nations face-off.
Did they go on the road this weekend?
No, they have New Jersey on Saturday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
and that
Jack
means the
Hughes.
great Jack Hughes, yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Look, this celebration, this victory tour for these Olympians, it's just unbelievable. They've handled themselves so well when it's been draped in a little, nasty, disgusting politics. But what a fun week for both the men and the women, Frank.
Absolutely, and I love the fact that the St. Louisans, the Tkachuk, are like the most patriotic of the group, so it's cool to see.
All right, how much damage did the Billikens do to themselves and their resume by getting smoked the other night? They're back in action tomorrow against Duquesne.
Well, if you look at the experts, the Joe Lenardis and the Jerry Palms, many of them still have SLU as a 7 seed. But I will say this, Mark, if they were to lose the final game of the regular season at George Mason and then not win the conference tournament, Selection Sunday may be pretty tense for SLU. But I think they're going to run the table. I think they're going to be 28-3 heading into the conference tournament, and they won't have to win it to get in.
Meantime, Mizzou had a great victory the other night against Tennessee. I don't think they're quite in the lock category, but if they beat Mississippi State tomorrow, they get 10 SEC wins. I think that does kind of put them in the lock territory. Then you're playing for seed. You don't want to have to be in that 11 seed play-in game. So they're still playing for something here at the end of the season. May need a victory in the SEC tournament, too.
Yeah, they do. I will say this, Mark. Missouri has beaten Kentucky, Florida, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, and Tennessee. Those are 5 significant wins. I would be stunned. Now, they can't stumble down the stretch, but maybe win one more game just to secure it and to improve your seed. But Missouri's had a wonderful season, and I wouldn't want to play the Tigers right now. I mean, they have so much size, 6'10", 6'9", 7 feet across the front, 2 big guards. Dennis Gates is peaking this team at the right time.
And Teal Barrett, Frank, looks better each and every game, and he's just a sophomore.
Oh, my goodness. The other night, he looked like Steve Nash. He had 28 points. He was hitting those runners in rush hour traffic, and he's a great defender. So I like their point guard situation, he and Ant Robinson.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Ethan tells me J.J. Weatherhill had a home run today. Any good news outside of that from the Cardinal Spring Training Camp this week?
That's the story. He came off the bat 105 miles an hour off of Devin Williams, an all-star caliber pitcher. But here's another good thing. Is Quinn Matthews pitched today. He pitched pretty good. So that means, I think, in all 7 spring training games, the guy they trotted out there as the starter has pitched pretty well.
Well, I'd say that's pretty good. All right, what's coming up? You got a show on Sunday night this week, don't you?
Yeah, we are excited about it. In studio, we're going to have 2 of the greatest football Cardinals of all time, O.J. Anderson and Roy Green. We are going to profile Brian Baroni, who's taken SIU Edwardsville to the NCAA tournament, and then a full deep dive into spring training.
Are you on a golf course this afternoon by any chance?
Mark, that would be a great assumption. Of course I am.
Did you see that kid yesterday, and I'd never even heard of him, Park,
who
went for 3 holes without his putter because he holed in an eagle from the fairway, then he chipped in one from off the green, and then he got one to go in from the bunker. That was incredible. I don't know if that was history, but that was incredible.
I've never seen anything like it. That was really cool to see.
All right, which course are you on by chance?
I'm at Norwood on the 2nd hole as we speak.
All right, go tee off. We'll see you. Thanks, Frank.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, we'll see you. That's awesome. I knew he was going to. This time of year, you're going to find him
Frank.
on the golf course, which, I've been playing pickleball with Frank quite a bit.
I love
man,
that.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty competitive too, but he puts his game face on and does not like to lose at all.
Whoa.
Yeah, so he takes it very seriously, and he's a very
That's
good
funny.
golfer as well. Mike Elam is hanging out. He's going to join us here after the top of the hour. My friend Chris Smith, who wrote a book called My Fatal First Date, he was featured on an episode of 48 Hours for a very unfortunate reason. He was shot in the head. He still has a bullet fragment in his skull, but his story that we've shared many times over the years continues to be inspirational. He's got to know John O'Leary quite well, too, and they have a lot in common, and I think they're right around the same age. My friend Luke Bligh, I got all kinds of friends coming by. Luke has Whiskey Dickerson, a great clothing brand and T-shirt. He did the Mark Reardon Show T-shirt.
He did, and they're nice.
So we're going to visit with him. He lives out here in Cottleville. That's coming up. Plus, an audio cut of the day. Fred is hanging out. Sue, I think you would agree we've got a huge crowd out here in Cottleville,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, we do.
What have you sampled and do you love so far on the menu?
So far, I really like the shrimp, and I've also had a little bit of the French fries, just not much, and they're outstanding.
Now, Kevin said that he brought something out, and it's not on the menu, like a little ceviche
Well,
thing,
I wasn't
right?
going to mention that.
You didn't like
'cause
it, though?
it's awesome.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah.
it's not on the menu,
Yeah,
right? Shh.
so that's why I wasn't
Don't
bringing
tell
it
anyone.
up.
We're coming back. Mike Elam after Fox News at the top of the hour, live in Cottleville.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Some volume 70 at Jennings Station Road in both directions, but it's not bad to the west. 6440 still lines up Kings Highway out through McCausland, and that's jamming up southbound 170 because eastbound 40 is slow in that area as well. Then the biggest jam is Highway N out through the 70 split, and some volume southbound 270 between Olive and Gravois, and on the Illinois side, we're fine on the bridges, but eastbound 64 slowing at 157 and westbound at 159. That all due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Well, if you're starting to think about retirement seriously, and I say that because most of us kind of think about it, right? You know that it's off in the future, and you know you will get there, and you know to save. So you really don't think too much about it until you get closer and you think, wait a minute, how in the world am I supposed to know how to handle my money in retirement? How do I know it's going to last the entirety of my retirement? It's going to last you the rest of your life. I have to understand how things work to be at peace. And that is what financial and tax architects could do for you. What they do is put on a class called Retirement Planning 101. It's just one night, it's 90 minutes, but they go over some of this stuff. So you feel like, okay, now I've got, that's how that works. Oh, I've got a handle on that. It's a free class, but you have to register. So call 314-888-5101, 314-888-5101. Go to a class, see how they operate, and you'll probably want to sit down with them and have them come up with a written plan. But go to a class, learn, and feel better about retirement.
It seems like this weather is going to continue. The cold weather is going to continue here in St. Louis and Illinois for the foreseeable future to finish out the winter. Now, if you have been unlucky or you don't want to wait till you're unlucky and you need your furnace fixed or even replaced, call me. We can get you a furnace next day. Sometimes we, depending on the manufacturer, it's not us, but just depending on the manufacturer, if they have the parts available and here in St. Louis or Illinois, we can get you that day. But either way, if you're having problems with the furnace or you want to prevent problems with the furnace, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois, just one number. That number is 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it's Bart Inman. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
It's that time of year to refresh those tired, stained, and worn-out carpets for spring. Call Carpet Guy Home Services with deals starting as low as $39.95. Our professional cleaning will bring your carpets back to life. For all your home cleaning services, schedule online at www.callcarpetguy.com.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Excellent weather on this Friday afternoon. 69 for the high, well short of the record of 86. Tonight, clear skies. Nice evening for this time of year. 43 for the low. The weekend, Saturday, sunny and nice, 65. Sunday, clouds dominate with a mix of light rain and sloppy wet snow. It's colder Friday with a high of 42. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Building over Iran. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump saying he's not happy after negotiations this week wrap without a deal.
They don't want to say the key words, we're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
The president saying he does not want to see Iran develop a civilian nuclear program. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has warned any Americans in Iran to leave immediately. The president now in Corpus Christi, Texas, at an oil refinery where he made his first pitch on the economy after Tuesday's State of the Union address.
With the men and women here today, we're unleashing America's potential, strengthening our security, increasing our prosperity. We had the most successful country anywhere in the world. A year and a half ago, we had a dead country. Our country was dead.
The president was asked about who he's endorsing in the state's Republican Senate primary between incumbent John Cornyn and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. He said he's made up his mind, but did not elaborate. The House Oversight Committee has wrapped up its questioning of former President Bill Clinton over Jeffrey Epstein, with Chairman James Comer saying they're going to continue questioning others in relation to the Epstein files. Million-selling singer-songwriter Neil Sedaka, who sang and wrote dozens of hits, has died.
Born in Brooklyn in 1939, he was one of the original creators of the Brill Building sound in the late 50s and early 60s. Early hits included Oh Carol, Calendar Girl, and Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, among others. After the British invasion of the 60s changed the music landscape, Sedaka wrote hits for other artists, including Frank Sinatra and Elvis. A comeback in the 1970s brought him back to the top of the charts with Laughter in the Rain, and in the 90s and beyond, he composed classical music.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers, in a statement, his family wrote they're devastated by his sudden passing. Neil Sedaka was 88. America is listening to Fox News.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-983-2077 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-983-2077. That's 800-983-2077. What do you have to lose? Call 800-983-2077. Again, 800-983-2077.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, welcome back. We are live in Cottleville this afternoon. It is the second stop on our Fish Fry Friday tour. We're at the Knights of Columbus Hall, and it is a big, crowded room right now. We've been here since 3 o'clock. We did a live roundtable. We still have plenty to do this hour. Sue and Fred have been eating. The host has been sitting here salivating over the food because I really can't eat when I'm on the air. We have Mike Elam swinging by the table here. This is his St. Charles County Council District. Mike's occasionally filling in for me and others on 97.1 FM Talk. How are you? You're also the chair of the St. Charles County Council, aren't you?
I am. I'm glad you guys made it out here. This is
we love
great.
it out here. This is 4 years in a row. Not all the stops have been as consistent, but Kevin and Jim, they take great care of us out here. We met the mayor today.
Yeah,
and
Stephen.
we love the menu at this Fish Fry, so it's awesome. So thank you for swinging by.
You
we
are
had
in
Senator
one of the...
Schroer on earlier, too.
I started the day with Nick. We actually, Progress 64 West, we did a legislative panel this morning out in Chesterfield.
Really?
So we had Senator Brian Williams, Senator Nick Schroer, Representative Brad Christ, and Representative Colin Wellenkamp, who
What were
were
we
all
talking
on
about?
that panel. We started off talking about the governor's issue, right? So we're going to get rid of income tax, maybe.
We're hearing that. We did talk about that during the roundtable,
So
yeah.
we talked about that a little bit. Then we talked about the airport, which is, everybody keeps talking about economic development, what's that going to look like. And in my opinion, rather than save the Chiefs, saving the airport is a bigger deal. And you're going to get a better dollar-for-dollar return if you do that. So that was a big topic of what we talked about.
How much work do we have to do there?
Oh, I think there's going to be a lot of work we're going to have to do there. I'm curious as to see how this legislative session works out in Jeff City. There's a lot of bills that they have thrown at the wall, and I'm curious how many of them are going to make it to the finish line.
Well, typically, a lot of them don't make it to the finish line, right? They get close, and then it gets kicked down to the next session.
Well, the saying is always that, did I do something?
Yeah,
There we go. Hey,
the
saying is always that it's going to make it through the House and die in the Senate, right? So we'll see how well that goes. I will tell you, though, so having 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat this morning on the panel, Brian Williams held his own, and he did a really nice job. And
He's an
they got
impressive
along
guy.
Really well.
He's likely to be the next St. Louis County executive. I mean, I think the smart money is on him right now. Dennis Hancock got into the race on the Republican side. I've been too many times been in the room with Rick Stream and Bill Corrigan getting close, but a Republican, Mike, I don't think can win in St. Louis County. Now, having said that, you want to put a candidate up that's competitive because you don't know what's going to happen on the other side. We made that mistake, I think, years ago with Bob McCullough. Didn't put someone, a good Republican in front of the voters. Out here in this area, and we've commented on this several times because my friend Luke Bligh over there with Whiskey Dickerson, he lives out here. Luke and I have known each other for a long time, and he had his wedding reception out here. And that was the first in Cottleville. And that was probably, I guess, 12 years ago.
It's a completely different
Yes,
place back
but
then.
I recognized the charm that it had, and I'm like, this is cool. Now, I would love to live out here, but it's a little too far for work. But I bring it up because
really not.
well, it might not be. It might be a perception thing. I get that, right?
No, it's good.
But with Sue and I and Fred, we get out here, we see all this development. Like, it seems like every time we come out here, there's a lot of growth. Now, that's a good thing economically, right? But there are people, and I have people in my ear from time to time that say, look, guys like you and Steve Elam, you're letting too much growth. There's too many apartments. There's this and that.
Yeah.
And we're losing some of the natural beauty of St. Charles County. So how do you address those issues and have a balance?
That's really the big thing that we're trying to go with, because one of the big things, and I know you've talked about Ness Sandoval before at the demographer at St. Louis University, and Ness has been ringing the bell for a long time, talking about we're losing our kids. They're leaving the area.
Yeah.
What's crazy is over the last 5 years in St. Charles County, here, take a guess. Fastest growing demographic, so age group in St. Charles County the last 5 years. What do you think it is?
60 plus.
So what they feed you? Is that what's going on?
Well, first of all, you set me up because I knew it wasn't younger people, but I also know that people are going, they're empty nesters or whatever, and they're finding places out here.
It's true. I mean, and it's good and bad, right? So the good news is you've got folks who are selling their houses at other areas of the region, and they're coming out here, and they're building their what we'll call forever home, right? The house they're going to live the rest of their life in. And they're spending a lot of money on those homes. I mean, the average price of a home in St. Charles County right now is about $400,000. The average price of a new home is over $600,000. So for our kids, they can't afford to live here. So they're the ones who keep moving into all the apartments. And the apartments out here, everybody throws a fit about how many apartments we're building, but they're 95% full. And the rent's not cheap, but they go for amenities, right? And I saw this guy the other day who's on this masterclass subscription that I have, and he's a wealth advisor, whatever that means, right? He talks about the fact that if you're a young person today, we're in the most expensive housing market in the history of our lives. So he encourages you to rent rather than buy. And we were always taught, if you're renting, you're what?
Throwing your money away. You're not building equity, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So he says in the first 10 years of owning a home, you're not building equity anyway. So find out where you want to live, understand the amenities that you want, and if your job changes, you can move. If you buy a house, you're locked into that. And he said with an apartment, that rent payment is the maximum you're going to spend every month. With a mortgage payment, it's the minimum you're going to spend
and I understand all that. And I talked to Mark Gelman, who is a great sponsor with the Gelman team, and he even said a couple of years ago to me, he goes, when your kids, like when my daughter, because he knows I have the older kids too, but when Alexa's at that age when she might be looking at buying a house, everyone's going to be renting. So, but that takes away. I mean, look, I've lived in apartments before, even when I got a divorce. I moved back into a couple apartments, right? Yeah. But you can't have all the animals. Sue and I, we have our animals.
Yes.
You can't have a lot of things. You have noise around you. I like to crank the music. I'm not doing that in an apartment. So there are sacrifices you make when you're not in a single family home that, if you got to do that for your whole life, that does not sound that much fun.
I don't think it's a whole life thing, though. I don't think it's like New York, right? So it's not that, but it's a bridge to get you to where you want to go. I mean, we all started off in apartments, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. I mean, mine was like 350 square feet.
Yeah. The first apartment I had in downtown Columbia is across from this 10th and Locust, across from what was then the Greyhound bus station, a couple of blocks away from Shakespeare's. And it was a big house that had been converted into multi-unit, and it was so small. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Yes.
But I was 19 years old. It was my first apartment. It was a great location. It was just a block from Harpo's. Even though I didn't go to Harpo's, it was still near all the bars and everything. Yeah, so that's what you do when you're younger. The problem is that these prices, and then if you combine the housing prices with the mortgage rates, okay? Now we're at 6%. We just dropped a couple of days ago, so that's good. And I think most people would tell you, we ain't going back to 3% or 4%, right? And a lot of us grew up in an era when we bought my first house, I think it was 9%, if I'm not mistaken, okay? So, there's challenges for these kids moving forward. How can they, raise families? That's the other thing. You're not going to have a bunch of kids in an apartment. I have a son that's in an apartment in Houston right now, but they need more room.
Yeah. Eventually, you're going to want to move up, right?
Yeah,
so when you start having kids, that's when you're probably going to take that next step. But I will tell you out here, most people want to live where they grew up. And that's a pathway for them to get in and then go up from there.
That makes sense.
See, that's so odd to me. I know a lot of people do that. Like, we have friends of Alexa's, like some of the parents and stuff. Right. And they all grew up in Fenton. And I'm like the outlier in my family because when we moved to St. Louis, I was only really here for 3 years, and then I went to Mizzou.
Yeah.
So I stayed in Columbia for the most part.
It really wasn't home for you, though.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that was it.
That's
I didn't start here. But yeah, so for me, it's interesting because you you know how that is in St. Louis, the high school question, everything like that.
Right.
It's kind of hard to break sometimes into friend groups and
It
things
is.
like that. Yeah.
But out here, the struggle is trying to keep that charm that you have with a Cottleville, right? That it is a beautiful community. You've got the folks over who put together Frankie Martin's Gardens. Have you been over there?
I don't know if I have.
So drive through the middle of Cottleville. When
Yeah,
you go
I
back
was right
here
through
around
there.
Yeah, so when you go right back around the corner from Knights of Columbus of where we are,
I saw
Frankie
that.
Martin's Garden is
Does
here.
that have the turf, the AstroTurf?
It does. It does.
Then I have seen it.
It's gorgeous. That is Mark. Look at that. And they're very friendly people in Cottleville. They just walk right up and ask if that's Mark.
Yes, they do.
Sometimes they forget we're doing a live radio show.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I was trying to get Fred's attention because we got a bunch of people
But
in line here.
how long has that place been there, Mike, with the AstroTurf? Is that a newer place?
Yeah, it's only about 3 years old.
Okay.
But it's got a whiskey house in it, but it's also got a beer garden area that's there. It's great. And then there's all kinds of areas that are kind of around that Chris Shreves has got together. A beautiful little boutique hotel.
I saw
with
that.
a restaurant and a speakeasy down below, all in one building.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It just speaks to kind of the charm that is here. And what's funny is Cottleville is one of the safest communities in the state of Missouri. U.S. News and World Report a couple of years ago named Cottleville as one of the 10 best places to live in America. So it's a place that we need to protect what it is.
Right.
But it's tough because when you have a community like this, you guys come out here and you're like, we love this place. When you see that, people want to be a part of it.
Well, that's right.
But the people who live here right now are like, hey, come visit, but don't stay.
Oh, right.
Right?
Well, it's been that way for a while. It's like, shh, don't tell anyone, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
one of those kind of things where we've got a really great thing here, and we want to keep it as what it is. But you run into that thing where you never sit still. You're either moving forward or you're going backwards.
Right.
You know, world is kind of like a moving river, and that's the struggle that we have in St. Charles County right now. We're trying to figure out who are we going to be over the next 10, 15 years. We've seen this growth over the years, but the way we've grown over the last 25 years is a farmer would sell his farm and we'd put 400 homes on it, right? Well, the farmers are already moved out for the most part. You've still got land on the western side, but now we're trying to figure out how do we grow in a consistent manner that doesn't destroy what St. Charles County is.
That's tough.
It is.
It is tough because look, you look at the area that I'm in right now, which is at 141 and 44. They put, I think it's called 44 West, an amazing amount of apartments right there on the outer road. That's adjacent
yes,
to 44.
I've seen those.
Right now, what's happening, and those all filled up. Look, that's Rockwood, so there's high demand. So you're thinking, what more can they do? On the other side, where Wet Willie's used to be, we remember Wet Willie's right there. Next time you drive by that's all apartments. Now, right now, it's just the Tyvek housing thing. You can see them going up. But they put these things up fast. So now you have, I don't even know how many units that would be on each side of 141.
Right.
But a couple hundred.
Oh, yeah.
At least. And people, I mean, boom, they are sold out in an instant.
You've got a whole bunch of them. The Meadows out in Lake St. Louis.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 years, they have completely surrounded the Meadows with apartment complexes.
Wow.
There's been 4 or 5 of them that have gone up. They've built over 900 apartment units in Lake St. Louis in the last 5 years. So it's one of those kind of things where I think people are starting to push back in a more aggressive manner and say, hey,
enough.
Yeah, enough. Let's stop. It kind of started coming across from City Hall in St. Peter's, and then it just blew up from there. And I think people are trying to find a happy medium.
What Steve Elam has said is that, and you can comment on this, is that the county might not want to do some things, but these individual communities still have the right to say we want to build an apartment complex,
yeah,
right?
A lot of people think that the county has authority over the cities, and we do not. If Cottleville wants to build something, we can't tell Cottleville what to do. We are at the same level, so it starts federal up top, then state, and county and municipal is the same. So we share that same space. So that's why, when some people will blame Steve Elman for all the apartments that are going up, Steve can't tell anybody. And by the way, in unincorporated county, in the 13 years I've been on the council, we've approved 1 apartment complex.
Wow.
That's it. All these others have been in the municipalities, but it's their area
But
to be able
can't
to
you
do.
have conversations with the municipalities? Is there, everybody kind of wants to seemingly, hopefully, be on the same page because you have the same interests
They do
at heart.
It's one of those kind of things where we're looking for a way to go vertical rather than horizontal to control the population.
Mike,
right?
does that mean, like, is there unincorporated St. Charles County, and does that mean the county can tell them what to do there?
In unincorporated
Yes.
county, that's our domain.
Okay.
Yeah. So you look at my area. I mean, Cottleville is in my council district. Darden Prairie is in my council district. If you get halfway down Highway K, all the way down around Bush Wildlife, that's my council district.
Gotcha.
So I cannot tell O'Fallon, Darden Prairie, Cottleville what to do.
Only unincorporated.
Only in the unincorporated areas
All right.
can we do it. But we have a beautiful community. And we've still got room for you. So when you decide,
You might
at
want to
some
think
point,
about that.
we can put him in Darden Prairie.
I think the team would agree. I'm probably only a matter of days away from getting sacked and ending up on the sidelines, so I might have to move out here.
You can always broadcast from home. I'm just saying.
The HR file keeps getting thicker for me. I don't know how much surviving I'm going to have. Hey, it's great to see you.
Thank you very much for coming out. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to a trivia night tonight at Boys and Girls Club here in St. Charles. It's 70s and 80s television trivia.
That's awesome.
You're going to
I
kill
am
it.
not a big trivia guy, but that would interest me because I think I'd actually do pretty well. Fred, we would rock out on that, right?
Yeah, you would.
Good job, Mike Elam. Thank you
guys.
very much. My friend Chris Smith's going to swing by. He's out here. He has an amazing story. Was shot in the head, and the woman that he was with the night that happened, the night before Thanksgiving, 3.5 years ago, died. His recovery story and his path to getting his life back is amazing. We've shared it before. We're going to share it again this afternoon. Coming up next on 97.1 FM Talk. We're live in Cottleville.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got an accident on eastbound 70 at 141, and it has created a jam behind it that goes back across the Blanchette Bridge. 370 looks fine. Westbound 70 is pretty slow at Jennings Station Road, and then it opens up, and really the volume isn't out there again until Highway A through Wentzville. 64 of slow go approaching Hampton out through McCausland, and again Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through 70. Now 270 northbound is jammed at 70. Southbound some moderate volume, especially on either side of Manchester, then in pockets down through Gravois. And if you're headed into Illinois, the bridges are fine, but there's volume eastbound 64 at 157 and westbound at 159. That's traffic. I'm Sue Thomas with it on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Triton Exteriors. We take care of your home. It's that simple. Triton-STL.com. Home improvement projects can come with a lot of headaches. We save you time by offering packaged services that are easy to understand and based on your needs. We take care of the details so you don't have to. Visit us at Triton-STL.com. That's Triton-STL.com.
I think a lot of people have it in their minds right now that interest rates are too high to refi. Stuart in Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage will tell you, no. In fact, they've dropped to lows here in the past week, and he can help you with the bagel loan because when you refi, and this is a perfect time to do it, you pay no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, and no broker fees. Zero. So when you buy a home, you take out a loan for $200,000 or more, you pay zero lender fees. The bagel loan is something that he invented. He's been doing this for 30 years. He's trying to help you save money. One thing that he will warn you about, don't take out that home equity line of credit. Don't do it. It's going to cost you more in the long run. He likes to think he opens doors for people like maybe you, because it's a confusing process. It can be intimidating. He makes it very simple. And by the way, quick closes in as little as 10 days. The other thing we do is you give his cell phone number. So here it is directly. You can text. A lot of people do that. 314-324-4440. Check them out. Stewart's American Mortgage. Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Home power used to be simple. Now the car plugs in, the scooter plugs in, the space heater plugs in, and your electric panel starts popping.
That sounds bad, but I like popcorn.
Popcorn is great, sparks are not. Call Grasser. We'll upgrade your panel so you can run it all.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
Live in Cottleville. I've lost the team, though. Fred and Sue must be in the room somewhere because they're not hanging with Brian and I. Brian doing a great job behind the controls here this afternoon. Ethan back in the studio. This is our second stop in Cottleville. It's all sponsored by Apache Village RV. They're outstanding. They're in Hazelwood and in O'Fallon. Next week, join us in South County at Assumption Catholic Church. St. Mary Magdalene the week following, March 20th, Queen of All Saints in Oakville. Ott's Tavern on March 27th. We have shared the story of this knucklehead that's sitting right next to me right now, Chris Smith, several times over the years. Chris and I became friends in a unique way, and some people might remember that story, but then he had a tragedy that struck him and his family when he was literally shot in the head and left for dead 3.5 years ago. His story is now in the form of a book that he wrote. Also, you can watch a story on 48 Hours. We have all kinds of documentary filmmakers that want to tell his story. But his book is called My Fatal First Date, A True Life Story of Survival, Tragedy, Inspiration, Triumph, and Faith. Chris, how are you? That was a long intro, by the way.
It was, man. You know what? I feel like I actually have some clout now.
You have a little clout. I think you got clout.
I got some street cred now?
I think so. You've
All
had
right.
street cred for a long time. This is your neck of the woods, though, right? You
Yes,
live
it
out
is.
here.
I'm literally 2 miles from here.
That's outstanding. And
Yes.
you're living, I think it's important to point out, I mean, this has been a bit of a journey for you, and not a fun journey along the way, but you're to the point right now. Well, look, you had to live with your mom for a while, which
Yes, I
sucked,
did.
right?
Yeah, it did.
Not that your mom's not awesome, but
She's
look,
great.
your life had to change dramatically because of the situation that you were in.
Yes, correct. It was. I mean, Mark, this whole thing's been surreal.
Yeah.
Now it's been like a roller coaster ride for the last year and a half. I mean, I have come to realize I am a miracle. I shouldn't be here. You know I shouldn't be here.
The doctor told your mom you wouldn't be, right?
No, I'm 1%er. Yeah, they told them I was going to die. I had maybe had a 1% chance I'd live. And it's crazy, man. I mean, it really is. Going from Chris in the country, bugging you on the Mighty Mox back in the day, telling you Trump was going to win, I'm going to shave your head. I mean, to this, I mean.
And that was, I mean, really 10 years ago.
I know. I was thinking about that today. It's almost 11 years. Can
So
you believe
Chris
that?
would call my show on KMOX, and we would call him, Dave Klein gave him the nickname Chris in the Country. And then, yes, there was a wager that I was going to shave my head if Trump won.
I hate that you let him out of that.
And then we became friends.
Yeah,
though.
but the baseball game was great, though.
Yeah, well, we went to baseball game. We became friends. I got to know you. You were going through some tough times, if I remember it, leading up to the tragedy. You were going through a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
That was tough. I remember texting you the week before Thanksgiving, and I was busy, and I said, I'll call you next week. And I didn't do that. And then the next thing I know, I hear from his mother on Facebook Messenger saying, hey, is this Mark, the radio guy? This is Chris's mom, Chris Smith. He was shot in the head. I literally responded to your mom, wait, what? And then she called me right away. And then the other part of the story that's amazing, I told people, I told the story on the air. I told friends I'd never talk to you again. I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to see him again. And then third week of January, I'm heading into work on 44, and I get a call. And it was you, and I was one of the first people that you called, and that was kind of amazing. In fact, I hung up on you.
I was going to say, he hung up on me. He hung up on me.
How many strokes did you have?
I had three major ischemic strokes and several macros to boot.
But when you had just kind of emerged from the induced coma and everything, your speech pattern was way off. So I didn't know who was calling me, and it was a video call because I think you called on FaceTime.
Yes, I did.
With Facebook.
Yeah.
So or Messenger, I mean, not FaceTime. So that was kind of weird. So you talked about the last year and a half. Let's kind of go through that. I went through. Let me give you my perspective with Chris, because when you start recovering and when you start on a journey that's more positive, when you're not, and I'm not criticizing you for feeling sorry for yourself because you went through hell, all right?
Yeah.
And I experienced some of this with you.
I did.
Because you would talk to me. But you got motivated, man, and you never gave up, right? And your mom has told us this story, and you're like, I'm going to get my life back, right?
Yes.
So one thing that you felt strongly about, and I think this is manifesting itself, is you feel like your story has something to offer to other people. In fact, we know a great story from here in St. Louis with John O'Leary, who was just his story made into a feature film, Soul on Fire. You've gotten to know John pretty well.
I've become friends with him. Yes.
Yeah.
And he's kind of taking me under his wing.
Who introduced you?
Well, this guy named Mark Reardon. But we were talking last week, and I said, you know what, John? So it took me a while to watch this movie, which I finally watched a week and a half ago.
It's on Netflix now.
Yeah, but I was scared to watch it. And when I did watch it, I was fighting back tears the whole time. All right?
Yeah.
So I called him after, and I was like, you know what? I love Mark, but he's no joke. No Jack Buck.
But what you also found out was that you guys were the same age, and you kind of probably were at the same parties at SLU, right?
And Cross Pass, yes.
Isn't that weird? Because we talk about this all the time. Fred, Sue, and I, we were just talking about it earlier, probably were at many concerts together. But that's incredible. All right, so now, the 48 Hours piece, that was pretty big, right? When CBS came calling, I don't even remember how that came about.
I don't.
Do you remember?
No, actually, you know what? Yes, I do. Channel 4, KMOV.
They had done some stories on you.
Yes.
And it came across 48 Hours radar, and they came to town. And you can still watch that episode on Paramount Plus.
Correct.
It's called Fatal First Date, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, you're in that part. Yes.
I mean, you got to wait till like the third quarter of the show, but it's the best.
But he's also in chapter 10 of the book.
That's good, because you know how he'd be if he weren't. Is that you saying it doesn't exist?
It's the only chapter that I've read, too, of the book. Where can people find the book, by the way?
You can go to Amazon.com and get it on there, or anytime I'm around town playing at my shows, I always have them on hand. I'll be signing books, and even if you buy one online and you catch one of my shows, I'll be more than happy to sign them for you.
All right, but you've also had, let me kind of piggyback on what I was talking about with 48 Hours, because I think you'd admit that since then there's been a lot of momentum in other people wanting to share the story. I know you had a documentary film crew that came in from overseas even, right?
Yes, it's going to air on the Roku network, and it's going to start airing this fall. And anybody who has Roku, you can watch it on there. It's called Last Night Out, and the episode will be named Christopher Smith.
Is it like the 48 Hours sort of a type of show? Like, what is it?
It is, but they get a little bit more in-depth on my recovery.
Oh, all right.
So they actually filmed me at one of my concerts I had back in December, and I mean, it's basically focusing on my recovery.
Okay.
Because 48 Hours more or less focuses on the actual tragedy
right,
itself.
Crime, yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah, exactly. So there's two different parts of it. Now you're trying to do. You've done a couple of speeches for some organizations, and you've had some interest there as well, like Brain Injury Foundation, etc.
Yeah, the Brain Injury Association of America. I was a keynote speaker at their conference here in the Midwest in October of past year, 25. And John told me I had to get a real website, so my
Leary did?
Yeah,
all right.
He's like, Chris, you really got to get your crap together and get a real website.
Well, that's quite good advice.
So my stepdad, Paulie Costanza, Paul, he's making me a website. So I said, you know what, I think we're going to kind of, he's like, copy my template. So it's going to be really professional looking. And he said, get out there and talk to rehab facilities, doctors. Get out there to start.
Well, you have, and I've had people that have heard
really
you on my show, and I've put them in touch because people want to hear the story. It really is an amazing story. I mean, we referenced this earlier, but you literally still have a bullet in your head.
Yep, 9mm hollow point behind my right eye. A hollow point.
Yeah, and that's not going anywhere, right?
No, it's there for the rest of my life, man.
What are you, because you continue to try to get different parts of mobility back, right?
Okay, so I'm glad you're touching on this. So I have actually came in contact with the CEO of a company called Axiobonics. They're out of state, but I'm getting 2 new devices. So it's actually like a wetsuit type. It's called a neural sleeve, bio sleeve for my leg and for my arm.
Okay.
It's like AI technology, so will zap me and make my arm swing right and make my gait go right and everything.
Wow.
He's actually giving it to me for free because he said, Chris, you're going to give me more advertisement than I could actually pay for.
Yeah. So how you wear it on your arm and your leg, and then you have to send the signals manually, or did this just happen?
It's basically like wearing wireless monitor system on your belt.
Yeah?
Yep, and it just does it all there.
Very cool. All right, you mentioned the music, too. Tell folks about your music, because you did a lot of music before you were shot, and for a while you couldn't do that. You didn't have the mobility, you didn't have the voice. It's coming back, though, and you're playing gigs, Chris.
Yeah, the voice is back, and even with one jaw muscle, I can still belt it out. So, yeah, my next show will be at the Moonshine Blues Bar on March 6th, which is next Friday at 7 to 8 p.m. Come on out. It's we packed them in their last 2 shows. I've had over 100 people at my shows. So apparently the singing man with the bull in his head, I'm like a novelty circus show side act, the bearded lady.
Well, you're doing great. And it's good to see you, even though you bug me pretty much every day
Get
anyway,
a tape measure.
I know. He's
measure
trying to,
deck,
so
dude.
I'm trying to get my deck repaired, Sue.
Oh,
and
dear.
Chris is trying to help me right now.
Well, that's nice of you.
Yeah, I know, right. Well, it is good to see you. And
it's good to see you too, brother.
You don't have the URL set for the website?
Yes, it's ChrisSmithMotivatesYou.com.
ChrisSmithMotivatesYou.com. It's a long website. Can we shorten that up at all? No, sorry,
Just
I'm
do
just
it.
teasing.
Just
We're
do
coming
it.
back with more. We're live in Connellville. Fish Fry Fridays. Check us out at the Knights of Columbus Hall.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, an accident eastbound 70 at 141 has been blocking the two right lanes. Traffic, of course, is jammed behind that. And if you happen to be eastbound, it's really lined up more than you would expect at this hour. So just be aware. Now, elsewhere, if you're westbound on 70, there's some volume at Jennings Station Road. Okay. And it's not bad at 141, but there's a little slowdown. And then it slows at Highway A. Now, 6440 is still slowing Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound, we had an accident reported near Timberlake Manor. That's caused a delay. And then westbound is slow again out at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 270, most of the volume there is moderate from Big Bend down through Gravois. And 55 isn't bad. If you're headed into Illinois, we look good on the bridges downtown. But there's a little bit of a slowdown. Eastbound 64 at 157. Westbound at 159. That's due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. This report is brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they have been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. Windows, siding, kitchens, baths, outdoor spaces. They give you quality craftsmanship and lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com.
Because, we've had some clock issues in the studio, and I have the clock that I use on my iPhone here, and somehow it's shifted into military time, and I can't figure out how to get it back to regular time. These are the challenges that a broadcaster has at a live remote. Let's talk about Game Day Men's Health, because you should book an appointment in Chesterfield with Matt Lawrence. He's offering a free testosterone and PSA test. If you need a little energy, guys, you're getting home and you don't have the energy to play with the kids and do other things, they can help you at Game Day Men's Health. It is a tremendously effective and efficient office. Beautiful, world-class office, and they have a pharmacy. That helps keep things very streamlined for you. Game Day's really blown up, too. This is a company, of course, there's competition in this field. They have 400 locations across the U.S. and Canada. And Matt's location is right there in Chesterfield at 6440 and Clarkson and Olive. Book an appointment today. Take advantage of the free test. Within 20 minutes, results, and they'll have a game plan for you. GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Here's reason 17. In today's new world, many law firms have had money injected into their firms by Wall Street, private equity, and other lenders. This money usually comes in at very, very high interest rates. It's one of the reasons you see so many lawyers advertising. I'm John Morgan. This money is expensive and the interest compounds quickly. These law firms can have a huge need for cash just to pay that debt. Why does it matter to you? My fear is your case is settled early and for far less than it's worth, just to service the loan that has mafia-like rates. Our financial strength is your advantage. That plus our reputation makes our firm your firm. Visit forthepeople.com to see our results and verdicts. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The time is 5:36. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Real talk, today's issues. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sue, we are live in Colorado. Every time I look at Sue, she's eating, though. This is so unfair.
I don't know
all
what's
the
happening.
talking, and you're eating constantly. Now you've already moved on to desserts, right?
Well, yeah, that churro cheesecake is interesting.
Oh, my goodness. All right, we're going to talk with my friend Luke Bligh here, who has this great clothing brand called Whiskey Dickerson. The Mark Reardon Show T-shirts are available at that website. Luke and I have known each other for a long, long time. In fact, I was mentioning that you've been married, I bet, 12 years. Is that right?
Correct.
Because the first time I was in Cottleville, you had your wedding reception here.
That's right.
I would argue that Cottleville's changed quite a bit in the last decade, wouldn't you say?
It's grown.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
But you've lived out here for how long now?
Going on 5 years, I believe.
It's awesome. Well, we like it out here. We like being here. I love the whiskeydickerson.com website. The only challenge that I would have, Richie T here is with us too, who does the shirts. The model that comes up on the front page, I would do something a little different with.
I agree.
Oh, that's you, Luke. I'm sorry. What happened
pretty
there?
Handsome fella. Pretty handsome fella.
So Luke and I, we really do go way back. We used to ride bikes together. He was much better than I. It's not even close. We played golf together. But you always kind of had this in your DNA to do something as an entrepreneur, and you've done that your whole career. But how did the clothing brand come about? Because it's unique, and we'll kind of get into the description of what the shirts are and what they say. But how did it start?
Yeah, the story's kind of unique, just how we started it. I bought a screen printing promotional products company about 6 years ago in 2020. So I think everyone kind of remembers what happened in 2020 with COVID hitting. Well, in the screen printing business, everything you produce, promotional products, things like that, really revolve around large gatherings, masses of people. Whether it's whether it's in a corporate event, run, something like that. So buy the business. Felt like 10 minutes later, COVID hit, and there is no business.
Right.
So Whiskey Dickerson was kind of born out of necessity, out of that.
And describe what it is, because not only do you have the 97.1 FM Talk shirts up there, but you have such unique and cool. Richie, this is where you can get involved, because they're, you say, built for patriots, worn for life. These are conservative-themed T-shirts. They're very unique. Some of them have a little profanity, which I appreciate, Luke, by the way. How can we on the radio, without losing our license, Richie, describe some of the shirts?
Yeah, you know, the whole emphasis behind the line is kind of a do-it-yourself, built from the ground up kind of thing. Much in the way born out of the way that the business got kicked off. I mean, out of the gate, Luke got shut down, with the virus and everything. We had to get creative. And so basically it was a DIY, effort in general. So I think it speaks to pretty much anybody who has that mentality. I was raised that way. Luke was raised that way. Do it or get off the pot, as my old man would say. Yeah.
So a couple of the shirts. Go to the website, though, whiskeydickerson.com. One says, go fund yourself. One says PF, you say, Pfizer. There's live and unfiltered, and that has a word that's profanity. One is more bourbon, but it looks like the Marlboro Man. So you have different themes here for the shirts. Again, I'm a fan of profanity, Luke. I'm not criticizing at all, but there is quite a bit of it up there, right?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
I like it a lot. Who comes up with the ideas for the shirts? You guys do that together?
That's a collective effort.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of spitballing going around the shop. We get far more of that done than we actually do print T-shirts.
Is there a bestseller right now? There's a lot of options.
There's a shirt called America, which is basically a Metallica. This is actually one of Richie's creations, a Metallica-looking logo that was converted in just to say America.
Yeah. There's one that's, I like that one. That is cool. There's one that's got MAGA with a lightning bolt as well.
So it's an AC/DC knockoff.
I don't know what IDGAF means. I have no idea, but there's one that says that. And you have women's and men's. We should point that out, right?
Correct. And youth.
And youth now, yeah.
You do have youth?
Yeah, and we're launching hoodies. We've got a few that are available now, but there'll be much more. But pretty much any of the designs on there can be converted into it.
Okay, let me say this, because, look, I've been in radio my whole career, you know that, and T-shirts are like the most famous giveaway ever. I've been in a movie theater before where they're giving, T-shirts away, and mothers are holding babies and they're almost dropping them to the ground because they want a cheap cotton T-shirt that nobody needs any more of an extra large, right? There's a big difference in the uniqueness of this T-shirt and what's on the labels, but the quality is outstanding, dude. And you know this, they're soft. They're the kind of T-shirts that you want to wear. So that's important to you.
Absolutely. Owning the screen printing shop, we have accessibility to a lot of different brands and a lot of different makes and models, let's just say, of shirts. So we know exactly what we're looking for. Most of your brands out there are going to be like this. They don't actually print anything. They don't do anything. They manage a brand. Maybe they do some design work, but they're not really concerned with their quality. We knew we had to lead with quality.
Yeah, because it's the kind of shirt, look, I've sent it to some people who might not particularly be proud of wearing my shirt out in public because they're Democrats or whatever, but I say, just wear it around the house because it's the damn most comfortable shirt that you're ever going to wear.
Absolutely.
So I give you compliments on that because whenever I give them to people, they know that. Well, look, honest to God, and we don't get to see each other as much as we used to, the website is fantastic. So it looks really, really good, and you are one of the models up there. You got your kids up there too, right?
I do. Preston and Parker on there.
I couldn't believe I looked at Parker. He's 6 years old. I think the last time I saw him was when he was like 6 months old.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. You guys want to say anything else about these awesome T-shirts? Richie, how hard is he working you?
Since day one, yeah. What that whole white knuckle to the bone kind of thing. No, he's what a great boss to have.
He's got a good work ethic, that Luke Bligh, doesn't he?
Great work ethic.
He's focused. I give him a lot of credit because I feel like I've been there with you from when this was just sort of an idea, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. When we came up with this, we wanted something to be patriotic and conservative. We've already touched on the quality, and I think that's what we've created here, and now we're really trying to explode this brand.
Well, so what you have on right now, you said you're getting into hoodies. That's awesome. You have the More Bourbon hoodie on. That you got to get that. I want those, right? Because those are really cool. I don't think I asked you about this, and some people do bring this up. Where did the name come from? I know that you're a fan of bourbon, but how did you settle on Whiskey Dickerson?
I can't wait for you to hear the new theme song, actually. I've got a song written.
Oh, excellent. I don't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You don't have that available right now, I'm guessing, though, right?
Not quite yet.
You should have shared that. We could have gotten it on.
That would have been cool, yeah.
Right.
No, really, I mean, everyone's heard the term before in some fashion, but it came to me, epiphany type of thing. First thing I did is hop out and see if the URL was available.
I can't believe it was, right?
Right. Yeah, I sent it to him, and we gobbled it up, and that stifled a long drought. We had a million different ideas prior to that. All of them sucked. This one stuck. Yeah. And this one stuck, and obviously the minute people see it or hear it, they latch on to it.
But even, Luke, even before, you had the name at one point, but the brand sort of evolved then from there, right? Because you weren't doing as many of the theme shirts at that point.
Yeah, I mean, from a production standpoint, you got to pick and choose your battles. Is this really a winner, or are we just trying to put a gap stop in there for the true business, which is established merch, our screen printing shop, or is this a big idea?
Yeah.
And as it's become a bigger idea, it's become what it is today.
It's only sold online, though, right? On the website.
Correct.
All right, whiskey.dickerson.com. Richie, Luke, great to see you. I got to come play some golf at some point, I think, don't I?
Let's do it.
I know. I got a new club that I can't hit.
Just one?
Thank you. But that's how I ordered with Adam Betts at Family Golf. I said, Adam, I'd like to order a 7-wood, another club that I can't hit, but I like it so far. Good to see you guys. Thanks a lot. Get on those hoodies. That looks awesome.
Will do.
Amazing. We're coming back with audio cut of the day.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Westbound 6440 is still lined up, especially if you're leaving downtown. So think about it from Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound is a little slow at Big Bend. Out west, we're still slow, but it's mainly Prospect on out. Now, westbound 70, moderate volume, Jennings Station Road. Eastbound, there was an accident earlier at 141 that's kind of left us with a jam through there. But westbound isn't bad until you get out to Wentzville. 55 is in good shape. Southbound 270 has thinned out. Northbound is slowing, trying to ramp onto westbound 70. Now, we look fine on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Triton Exteriors. We take care of your home. It's that simple. Triton-STL.com. Home improvement projects can come with a lot of headaches. We save you time by offering packaged services that are easy to understand and based on your needs. We take care of the details so you don't have to. Visit us at Triton-STL.com. That's Triton-STL.com.
Well, we've been having so much fun with George from ThrottleNet. I can't even imagine. We started this idea at the beginning of the year, Tech Talk Tuesdays, and it was going so well we're doing it every week. We're going to do it every other week. But I want to talk about what George and his team here in St. Louis, and they have a location in Kansas City, can do for you as a business owner. Because if you need IT help, if you need it fast, you want it local, fast times matter, fast response times. And that's why people go with ThrottleNet, because they're a managed IT services provider that is right here in St. Louis, featuring award-winning business IT support services. They knock it out of the park. And if you ever hear George on our segment on Tuesday evening right around 5:30, you'll hear the amount of expertise and confidence that he has. They are different, and they love helping people here in St. Louis and making customers' days better. So if you want a free baseline IT security report for your business, it's very easy. Just go to 971talk.com or throttlenet.com/971talk. Tell them that we sent you over. Throttlenet.com.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Surprise! Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
When it comes to lighting, Gray Bar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Gray Bar mode. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
When storm damage strikes or it's just time for a new roof, call my friend Cornelius at C. Marion Roofing. This is Ryan Wiggins. I've used him multiple times for roofs and bathrooms. He's licensed and insured for both homes and businesses. Start to finish, he'll handle your insurance claim and get you the job done right, fast, reliable, and with quality you can count on. I can testify to that. Call C. Marion Roofing today, 314-399-2140. That's 314-399-2140. Or type in C. Marion Roofing for all your projects.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is The Mark Reardon Show.
I feel like because we're in Cottleville, I can talk about this issue here, and Fred and Sue are still hanging out with us at the fish fry, which goes, Kevin, how long do we go tonight? 7:30? 7:30 out here in Cottleville at Knights of Columbus. What's that? Yeah, I'm done at 6 is right.
You were done a lot earlier.
Real soon. But no, this was an interesting story today, at least for me in the Wall Street Journal. Now, I don't drink alcohol. I haven't since 1990. I did quite a bit before then. But I have these memories of when I was a kid. I often say that my real first job was on that farm, Sue, where I would walk soybean fields and do stuff like that. But when my grandfather had retired, this was in the early 1970s, he was like the custodian for our church.
Yes.
And I would help him at this Lutheran church
Okay, that's really
in Morton
nice.
Grove, Illinois. But we would always go with him, and he had a friend named Bobby, to this place in the neighborhood that was literally 2 blocks away from the house called Bring Her In, and it was a little local tavern, right? And I remember, I don't even know if people do this anymore. Fred, you might remember this. My grandfather would put a little salt in his beer.
Oh, yeah, to make it bubble up.
So I would get a little shot glass of beer when I was 7. You'd probably get sent to prison for that at this point. And I'd act like, I was real cool. But the article in the Wall Street Journal is how small-town American taverns became the place to be again. And this is kind of making a comeback. which I think is encouraging. And they kind of tell the story of someone in here who's in a small town and they have a real cool bar. But they pointed out that as we celebrate our 250th birthday in that big town, and this is in Sargentsville, New Jersey, okay? There's no parades planned for the birthday, but the tavern, which is what they call like a third place between home and work where a community can gather, by definition, occupying the gray area between a bar and a restaurant. Taverns aren't fancy. You can drink a beer, order a burger, and linger. No one's going to kick you out after 90 minutes. Now, I know that the Haven was always one that when I lived in South St. Louis, that was a great, but is that open anymore?
Yeah, actually it is. But this reminds me of just pubs in England, right? That's a big hangout joint where you talk and eat the fish and chips instead of a burger.
But
it's the same idea,
It's
right?
a little hard to have some of these things. It is. But it's harder to have some of these things because the reason, what was that place that was around the corner that's the barbecue place from where I lived on Dover Place? What was that place called?
Something Hog.
Now it's the Something Hog, but it was another place, and it was
Iron
just
Hog?
No,
it's not that. That was you're thinking of the
Stellar.
Iron Barley,
The Stellar
Hog,
Hog.
right? Stellar Hog. But that was a different place, and it was just this smoky neighborhood bar. I literally, when I would go into that place, I'd have to take a shower when I got home because I smelled like cigarette smoke. But in our modern neighborhoods, we don't really have,
it's true,
access to local taverns. But I thought that this was kind of encouraging that they're making a comeback in some parts of America. And people are hanging out and having fun, like at a fish fry right here in Colorado, Missouri.
One of my favorite tavern names that I saw in South City was called The Office. So you could call your spouse and say, well, I'm still at the office.
Oh, that is
and you weren't
brilliant.
lying, so,
I love that
That's
one.
good.
All right, well, let's thank Kevin, who's sitting at the table here,
Thanks,
for having us
Kevin.
out here. Kevin Loves, thank you very much. Jim, who helps out in getting us out here, the whole gang at Apache Village RV, because they're amazing. Brian, who's handling the engineering here this afternoon. Ethan, back in the studio. Sue, for eating so much fish and chips
my gosh, I
this
really put
afternoon.
the
I'd like
big
to
bird
thank her
down.
for so much attention to the food. Fred, what do we have coming up on Monday? Do we even know at this point?
We've got David Amilotti from Channel 4 going to talk about his tour of the old AT&T building downtown.
So I saw this a couple of days ago. David did a piece for Channel 4 where they had some access and they walked through that building. And I think a lot of us are very curious to see if that's going to even be something that eventually is developed, and if it is developed successfully downtown. All right, Ethan, let's do audio cut of the day here.
Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Well, I think I heard today or yesterday that Cuba has become the first country to go net zero. Fred, did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, impressive. Of course, still communist nation down there. And was he joking here, Trump, when he's
No, it
talking
doesn't
about
sound
Cuba?
like it. I mean,
all right,
it
maybe he's
doesn't
going,
sound
it's Venezuela. We're building up in the Middle East, of course, against Iran, and let's knock off Cuba while we're at it.
The Cuban government is talking with us. They're in a big deal of trouble, as you know. They have no money, they have no anything right now, but they're talking with us, and maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba. We could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba.
What about the post?
After many, many years, we've had a lot of years of dealing with Cuba. I've been hearing about Cuba since I'm a little boy, but they're in big trouble, and we could very well, something good, I think very positive for the people that were expelled or worse from Cuba that live here. We have people living here that want to go back to Cuba, and they're very happy with what's going on.
Yeah, so progress there. Look, Cuba's beautiful. It's on my list of places I would love to see, but having things settle down there probably is going to work out a lot better. Sue, have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks, you too.
Fred, have a great weekend. We'll
Thanks,
talk
you
Monday at 3 o'clock. Come out to Colorado, and we'll see you next week at Assumption in South County.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Westbound 6440 still has some volume. It's mainly from Hampton out through Hanley. Eastbound is slow 170 through Big Bend. Now, we had an earlier accident eastbound 70 at 141. Still some volume through there. But westbound looks fine. And out west, we do have some volume westbound 64 at the 70 split. But we look great if you're headed into Illinois. Watch for some volume, though, eastbound at 64. It's just ongoing road work at 159. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
So let me tell you about Michael's Baths, because they do great work here in St. Louis. If you can hear me, Mike and the team can help you out. It's Mike Gower. He's owned this company for 30 years. Melody, his daughter, is going to take your phone call when you call for that free estimate. And they'd love to come out, take a look at your bathroom. If you're looking for a total remodel, they can handle that. They can do elevated bathroom spaces that really blend luxury, comfort, and smart design. Tub to shower conversions, probably the hottest thing in bathroom remodels. They can handle that. That's super easy. And the bid's going to come in a lot lower than the competition, and you still get great premium products like Central and Moen, chosen for beauty and performance. They have a lot of options for you that are built to last and really add value to your home. It's a complete transformation, or maybe just something a little smaller to make the room safer. This is a great time. They also have 0% financing available. 636-775-0800. michaelsbass.com. Michael's Bass, family-owned, insured, and where everyday bathrooms become something exceptional.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS.